Welcome back to another JERiCK podcast. My name is JERiCK.
My name is Alex.
And my name's Rafi.
Hey.
Back like a heart attack. What's good?
We got Rafi
like a
again
heart
in the
attack.
pod, and then we got somebody new, Alex.
What's up, y'all?
Hey,
it going,
is
man?
this Alex's
good?
first time on your channel?
Oh my
is.
God,
Yes.
it is.
It
yeah.
is.
Oh,
Damn.
man.
Well, I mean, yeah, no. on
I'm a
YouTube,
fan
at least.
favorite at this point. I'm just saying, but
Oh, you know what that means.
Self-proclaimed fan favorite.
Hey, if you got groupies, you should be getting endorsements. So
the people of the Yo Check It verse and the JERiCK verse, they know who I am.
That's true. There's some people.
oh,
that
you
know
say
that.
you a fan favorite?
We got history, kid.
I thought he was saying he was.
No,
my
you
fan.
got-
Yeah.
That you're the fan favorite.
No, that he was a fan of me. Like, but it's cool. It's all right.
Let's not lie to the people.
It's not like we live together. Or anything. It's fine.
This is why I wanted Raf and Alex to be here. So we have bickering going on.
That's too much. Sometimes we'll be getting in arguments about nothing. Sometimes.
This is Naruto and Sasuke right here, dude.
There's a rivalry going on.
I'm the grumpy
roommate
I'm the
rivalry?
grumpy one, so I'm Sasuke. You know,
You're the grumpy one?
Alex is overly
I feel like both of you guys.
I know, but he's overly energetic like Naruto, so I'm like,
That's fair.
Okay, fair.
That's all right. I'm cool with that.
you know.
But yeah, so we normally start the podcast with a weekly interest.
Oh, okay. All right.
Do you want to start, Raf?
You go and I'll think
your,
about mine.
What's your weekly interest?
My weekly interest, I guess, retro gaming. Like,
Oh yeah, you
Go-
told me that you bought that.
yeah, I bought like a handheld. We'll see. It hasn't come yet. It's still in the mail, but it's just like a device that plays all the old like Game Boy games, and
Like,
I guess-
does it have PlayStation?
Kind of like a
too?
Game Boy,
it
right?
goes up. It goes up to the Wii. Like it plays PSP, PlayStation 2. So I'll be able to like play Smash Brothers on there and shit.
Is
Oh,
that-
you mean it goes everything before the Wii?
Yeah, it has like Dreamcast. It has PlayStation.
You got Gamecast?
No, literally, it might as well have
how
that.
is that
bro.
It's probably not.
Probably not, huh?
It's
Like,
like,
I
it goes off emulators. So like it's gonna come with like a what do you call it? Scan disk? What do you call it? A memory.
Oh, like
an
an
SD card.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the SD card is already gonna be loaded with all the games.
Hey, that's pretty fun.
So in summary, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not legal.
I don't know.
But I
it
mean-
seems like a legal company. Everybody's selling handhelds right now.
That's
like
true.
the
That
thing.
is like
yeah.
the big thing.
The big debate right now is, people who like the feeling of like putting a cartridge in a handheld.
it's like
'cause-
that nostalgia of
Yeah, because
like,
that was
old
the
school
experience
games.
that we had as kids.
Yeah.
Blowing on the shit. Like,
But handhelds don't have that. Personally, me, I don't care. I just want to, relive my childhood. So, that's sort of just been like an interesting thing.
And you said it was $160?
Yeah,
that's not
That's
bad.
actually not bad
For
all
every
those
console
games.
since the Wii. That's insane.
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I watched so many reviews on this device before I bought it, but I was like,
Yeah, I think my roommate has one too, and I've seen him play it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be worth it because I mean, think about how much you spend every time a new console comes out, or think about how much
Yeah.
you spend because some of those retro ones
and the
are
games
now,
are like 50. It
antique.
used to be $50 each. I don't know how much the games are
Right.
now,
And
but
you
they're
wanna- I
even
think-
more.
yeah.
I think if you want to go
PS5
buy-
games are $70, bro.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, dude. And the controller, guess how much the controllers are now? $90.
Dude, it
Remember
used
when
to be
they-
like $50?
Exactly. Or the games and the controllers used to be the same price.
Yeah,
Dude, it's just
So-
it just keeps going up.
So I just don't be gaming like that anymore. Like I try to,
Man.
but I'm like,
Hey, come see me at Tekken.
don't waste your time. It's not even fun.
It's not. It's not.
I think I beat him one time. You beat him what? Like you
I
beat him.
don't
more
think
than-
I've ever been Raph.
I'm the stereotypical guy in the friend group that's good at fighting games. I'm the guy that's not fun to play because it takes it way too seriously.
Yeah.
See me in some shooting games, girl. I got you.
But yeah, that would be my weekly interest right now. Just kind of like the nostalgia, like you said. So I guess that's a huge part of it, because I don't know. I just remember me and my cousin bickering because we both had Game Boys and we were like,
Yeah.
Going at it.
I do miss playing games though. Maybe I should.
It's
get
a
one
good
of those.
like way to like zone out the rest of the world. Like when everything's
Yeah.
happening, just like man, I just want to like
it's
not worry about anything else and just like focus. on
turn
this
your
for a
brain
second.
off for
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah,
for,
because
like,
I remember when I used to like play Call of Duty a lot. It was just for a few hours every day.
Yeah.
It was just zoning.
Dude, that's how I was. Like
You-
right.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like for Call of Duty for me like especially like Xbox times, like when 360 came out, that's all I was doing. Like I got on a league. I was on the on a league when I was living in Tennessee. I was on like that region's league, and like we would compete, and like we were supposed to go to like actual competition where like you win money and shit, and it was crazy.
I think that's why Call of Duty is also so popular, is because it's so mindless. And what I mean by that is just like it's a simple objective. You go around and you shoot people.
Yeah.
And it kind of just, it's so easy to just shut the world off and zone in for like however long.
Yeah, but I think after Modern Warfare 3, I was just like, they're just kind of all the same.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens with a lot of games. Like the further they get, the harder it is to like keep a center.
They're just rehashing shit.
Right, they're gonna rehash shit. They're gonna add a bunch of unnecessary shit that you don't really need. That and then like, because there's times like even now, like if I want to like go log in or I want to go play, first of all you got to download a big ass update. Because for me, I spend too much time in between.
Right, like what's
Right.
with all the updates,
Yeah,
dude?
and
Man, I
then-
used to just be like putting the disc. I'm like, it's
Yep.
I
And then
get
on
to
top
play.
of that, it's like
Got to install games.
Yeah.
yeah, you do this mission, you do this mission, you add like you get this unlock and this unlock. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to like, for me to get into the game takes like 18 steps now.
yeah,
Like, I'm not trying to do,
Yeah.
yeah. We'd be sounding like boomers now.
bro. That did just make me sound old as fuck. Didn't it?
But anyways, how about you, Al? What's your weekly interest?
So it's been a week. It has been a long and stressful week, but usually I've noticed like when that stuff kind of happens, I kind of turn to like my outlet, which for me is dance. For y'all don't know, I'm a dancer. So this week, I mean y'all know, but yeah, this week I took a lot of time to just like go through a bunch of my music that I listen to on a regular basis and pick the stuff that actually gives me motivation and gives me different idea for concepts, different idea for like pathways. I'm really trying to take that time and like lab more. So I spent this week taking a lot of time,
so fast.
taking a lot of time making a playlist, and I called it, in the lab, and that's going to be like my labbing playlist, where it's like, okay, these are the songs that I know how they make me feel. I know like the ideas that they give me and like how they make my body feel, make my body move. Like I'm at work, just like
Is
going
it
through this
just
shit.
for like listening and grooving, or are you trying to create something?
It's not really
from
going to be a
these songs?
creation thing. Like when I think about like being in the lab, I think about, okay, like what techniques have I learned that I've trained that I can use to create something, putting things together. Like, can I move this pathway into a pop, or can I move it into more of a wave? And
okay.
like my lab, the way I lab is I try to like figure out what's going to like clash. Cause like I used to like, I mean, y'all both see me freestyle like from the beginning. I used to just like put a bunch of shit together that had no business being together, and it would make my stuff look like sporadic and chaotic. And
Hey, snaps for self-awareness though,
Hey.
and for growth.
let's go. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I mean, I feel like the more you do one thing, it's just like, oh, I'm getting better now. Like I probably shouldn't do the stuff that I used to do anymore.
Right. Yeah. And like, I mean, Raph helped me out a lot at the beginning. He's like, yo, man, you need to chill. Like, you need to calm down. I used to be so hyped for class and just like so ready to like go in and attack it.
Why are you killing his vibe, bro?
Because Alex at that point, everything was a good idea to him. Every single thing dance related was okay to mix together. And listen to what he's saying now. Like, you could really tell that he's grown from like, you know what I mean, like a different mindset into.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's evolving just by what he said.
Disclaimer, everything is still a good idea, just so you know. But no, I feel what you're
He's
saying.
not
No,
totally
you're right.
wrong.
I don't know. I'm also that person that always has ideas, and I'm like, oh man, this would be crazy. This would be sick. And then like, I would say probably out of all my ideas, maybe like 33% of them would actually be legit. But the problem is I don't.
22, but carry on.
All right. But I don't ever like follow through with them. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this would be a great idea. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then it's on the back burner. And
I feel like everybody deals with that though.
Right.
Like everybody has an idea for something, but then who are the ones that are actually
doing it, right?
doing the idea?
Yeah.
But that's cool though. At least you found something that's kind of helping you motivate with just like, especially in dance since you love it so much.
Yeah. That's a good segment.
I also learned something by watching Alex.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Is because like
Giving him game, dude.
I don't want to say this and
Give him
or
his props, bruh.
Let me cook, bro. Let me cook. I'm trying to cook. Give me the frying pan. Let me fucking cook. You interrupting me. No, but see, look, I lost my train of thought.
Just keep going. You got it.
But I learned something by observing Alex is because, you know, like when he was when he first started teaching and he first started choreographing and stuff, like I was giving him notes and there was a part of me that was like, I should also tell him this and I should also tell him this. But I learned that there are some things that you learn better by yourself. If you figure it out, there are certain things that when you figure it out on your own, is like it registers much better. It's a bigger impact on you as a creative when you learn it by yourself. So that, like, seeing his growth has taught me that I was right. Maybe I shouldn't have said something about what I was thinking about telling him because he figured it out. And that's probably better for him as a teacher, as a dancer, as an artist, rather than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just has a better effect on you as a person.
That also goes with, like, when you give somebody advice too. Like, you can tell them what to do,
right.
But at the end of the day, it's their decision
Exactly.
that will, like, impact their lives. So it's
but
you can't really say anything unless they're really willing to, like, listen.
Right.
Yo, low key though, at the time I was pissed. I was heated. I was like, bruh, I need help. You're not helping me. And I was like,
I never knew that.
I remember specifically there was
like,
one.
What? Like, he's not.
No, because like I would be like, yo, Graf, what do you think? And he'd just be like, and then he'd walk away, and I'm like,
why? Because you didn't want to give him.
Well, because at the time, I'm not gonna lie, the choreo was messy. It wasn't like, and that's the thing. I would show him stuff while I was still fixing things and cleaning. So like I wouldn't show him the finished project. I'd just be so excited to show him that I'm like, yo, what do you think? And then he'd just be like, yeah, it's good. And then, but I do remember one thing was like, I think I was teaching, what was it? I was teaching reggaeton at the university, and I was on the back. Remember, we were in the back on the deck, and we were chilling. And I was just like making shit, and you're like, but you need to drop a level. Like, instead of doing it here, go there. And I was like, okay, cool. And then like now when I choreograph more, I'm like, okay, that's right. Like, I need to figure out where I can move my levels to.
Oh, like you mean the dynamics.
Right, and change the dynamic. Like, if I'm up here, cool, like that's great. But like if I'm doing everything up here, it's losing that rigor. It's losing the zhuzh that it needs, you know.
I tried to give Alex stuff that he could like use from this point on to forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, it could be as not entirely like concepts, but I was just challenging him to think differently, to approach certain situations or movements differently, and he's done the work. You know what I mean?
Shout out to the homie. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's done a lot of this by himself. You know what I mean? Like, my words are one thing, but it's up to the person to use what I said and actually act on it and execute. You know what I mean? So good job, man.
And I mean, I think that kind of goes into what we're talking about today. Like, I don't think if I didn't have that like perseverance and the drive and the motivation to do all of this, I would have never gotten as far as I have. Like, going to a class, learning anything really, like out the gate, fresh out, you have no idea what you're doing, is discouraging as fuck, man. Like,
it really is.
Like, because you're never going to be good at something the first time you do it. And if you are, I mean, you need to pursue the shit out of that. Mm-hmm. But like, I remember when I first started playing music, like I was terrible, bro. I couldn't keep a beat to save my life. And then like same thing, like when I started mixing, like I messed up I didn't know you could mess up CDJs, but I straight up, I don't know what I did, but the whole thing started playing backwards. And I was like,
I have no idea. I didn't even know it does that. But.
Neither did I. And I remember my homeboy was just like, I've never seen it do that. And I'm like,
I've never seen a CDJ.
So
I've never seen a mixer play anything backwards.
Right.
What kind of demonic shit is that?
I was tripping. I was like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't do this. But yeah, man, I think it's getting through the awkwardness. It's getting through the fear.
Remember what I said last podcast?
What?
Dance the awkwardness away.
You did. I did say that, and it was funny because when you said that, I was like, I was thinking about like watching my old videos. It's like, oh man, yeah, like I had a lot of awkwardness because everyone knows when you're first dancing, like you forget to move your arms sometimes. You forget to.
You're
like,
not completely aware of every single
Right,
part of your
right.
body the way you are when you know. Progress.
Yeah, because I do remember like taking classes too, especially in the beginning. Like I would learn the choreography, right? But like my body wasn't like reacting to it,
Right.
Because like obviously like for a long time I never danced, but then like I get into it. You take a class, you're learning different choreos. I'm like, I'm not used to moving this way,
Right.
and then after a while I'm like, all right, like I'm starting to like get this like there's like specific moves that you know you do.
That's true. JERiCK was in like Sierra's classes, dude.
Yeah, man, that was a good time. That was
It
a,
was hard.
you're
That
killing
was
it.
hard for
You were
me.
hella killing it.
I know, but that's
Alex's class too. That shit was hard. I was like, fuck, dude.
Mine-
Have you ever taken a class from me?
Yeah, didn't he take
Maybe
your,
once.
Yeah, he took your R&B class.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because you were giving me
the
shit
cute
because
class.
I never taken your class.
Yeah. How
See,
was
this
that?
is how
experience?
Raph gets people in his shit. He just gives them shit until they're like, all right,
Yeah,
fine,
dude.
I'll be
Come
here.
on, it's the method.
I mean,
that's how
every friend group needs a raf.
But look, now everyone loves me. Come on.
Awkward silence.
But genuinely, what did you think about the class? Because I think that is the only time you've ever taken class, and you've known me the
Yeah.
longest, dude. What the
That's
heck?
true. I've known you, forever.
JERiCK shot my first videos on YouTube, bro. Like my first real cool videos. Like all of that was done by
image
JERiCK.
video, bro. Like I'm trying to get.
You
I mean, I have a couple, but they're all like class videos. I'm
But
trying to
also,
get.
like we were kids when when we started doing all that.
Yeah. Camp,
I've
bro.
known you since high school, I think.
I thought it was church camp. No, it was church camp. Was in high school.
That was
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, around that time.
But yeah, how was your experience? I mean, that was me after not having taught for a while, but you know.
It was good. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot, but then it's also like I've taken most of like Brandon's class.
Yeah.
So I've gotten kind of used to his like choreography and
Shout
his
out, Brandon.
movement.
Did you think my style was hard for you, or was it more along what you like?
It was a little bit more, I guess, intermediate or a little bit more at higher level than what I was used to.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't think it was like super difficult.
Yeah,
from
but
what I remember.
I was just moving a lot in that.
Yeah, and then your movement is like different too.
Yeah.
because like you're actually like you have your flow pattern or your like whatever you call it.
Yeah.
I also think like with your choreo, with a lot of them, especially the one that you just did, because damn, I haven't taken your class in a minute before that. But like, you take your time to sit in the movement,
Oh yeah.
and I think that can be hard sometimes because like, and I think that's actually a great topic about today too, is like sitting in the moment and like really being present. Especially like with your class, like if you're not present in that moment, you're not thinking about how long you need to be in this move or how long this count's gonna actually take. Like if this move's here is 2 counts and you're doing it in 1, you're gonna be early.
Yeah.
If you sit in it too long, it's gonna take. You're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss the next move. And I think that is actually something I did want to talk about. Was like when you're going through something and you're in a moment, you can't sit in that moment, bro. Like yes, it is always important to feel your feelings. I am not ever saying don't feel your feelings. Your emotions are real. They're important and they're valid, but you cannot let them take over your life sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's real hard to like get out of that mindset, and that comes with the accountability that you have within yourself. Like you have to have that inner understanding of yourself to be like, yes, this hurts, this I'm mad, I'm upset, I'm sad, but is that sadness going to influence this moment, or is it going to influence the next XYZ amount of time in my life? Is it going to be like, okay, I'm really, really sad in this moment, I'm going to be sad all week, I'm going to be sad all month? How long is this going to last? How long do I let it last? And I think that's part of growing up and becoming an adult, is like, how long do I really let these things impact my life? And I think the better you are at managing that, the better you are at creating your own success and creating the own vision of your life that you want to achieve.
A mic drop.
I can't even drop this thing. I'm like,
Hey.
loosen up and just.
I be killing Alex's vibe, but not in the way that you're thinking about. More in like if he comes home and I could tell something terrible happened and he's just had a day, I basically just try to get him to be like, well, can't let it ruin your whole day, kid.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So
It's interesting because at least for me, we've hung out a lot.
Yeah, but I don't think
But
we've had,
then, like, we
deep,
never-
deep.
yeah.
Like we got
This is-
deep, but we haven't
yeah.
like gone under the surface.
We never have
Pause.
like this kind of like
Pause.
deep conversation, like especially with like me and Sarah too. Like because when we hang out, it's a group setting. We're just having fun. We're acting a fool.
Yeah.
But then
Shout out to Acting Full.
Number one fool.
But then it's just like there's certain times, like I don't know, maybe we've had a couple of conversations that's like a little bit more.
Yeah, I think like our
Intuitive
park
and
hangs.
treat.
Yeah, our park
Yeah.
hangs. Like when we're at my house just chilling.
Yeah.
like, sometimes like that. But
So it's cool that you're, actually,
a human.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I
And
Oh,
have
man.
this same with rap too. Like sometimes it's hard for him to like be serious.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it took me a long time to have that self-awareness and also to be able to talk about it. Like,
Yeah.
like not to go too deep into my past, but I'm going a little deep. But like,
All right.
Darn, that's what she
darn.
said.
Alex is.
see, I can't have a normal conversation.
Hey, Alex
This is
got.
why we can't have
Alex
good
got a
things.
deep past.
I mean, you're not wrong, but like, I don't know. Like growing up, I lived way outside of town. Like for y'all to know, I grew up
He's
in
a
Gardnerville.
small town kid.
Shout out small towns. Terrible.
Garnerville.
Yeah.
Is that like past Carson?
The fact that you don't know where it is tells me everything I need to know about
Okay.
Garnerville, even if I didn't know where it was. But no, it is past Carson.
Yeah, you're kind of proving his
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like I not only is Garnerville a small town as it is, I was removed so far out of town. It took me 25 minutes to get into town. Add another level to that. I grew up in a trailer park with not a whole lot of other kids. And there wasn't even really a whole lot of other people. It was on native land, but like you could, you could rent that little space of land. And so growing up, like I had siblings that never really stayed in my life too long. So I never really had like that full connection very well. So, I mean, the best connection I had was with my parents or with my family. I didn't have like a whole, like the fam that we have now, our group of friends, I didn't have that like almost ever. So like a lot of what I was feeling, I kept to myself. I went through so much stuff in high school that like I couldn't really talk to anybody about. I couldn't really talk to my parents because it's probably a lot of stuff that I didn't want to tell my parents because I was, I was
Yeah.
acting a fool. I was being a mess. But on top of that, like it was just a lot of stuff that I just didn't know how to process within myself either. So I just didn't. And shout out to, men's health and having that idea that men don't really talk about anything because we don't. It takes us a long road to get to the point where we feel like we can talk about things. And it's dangerous, man. Like I've lost so many people in my life just not being able to think that they're heard. And I think that's scary.
That's true. The sad reality is too is like as men, we are sort of not allowed to take time to feel bad for ourselves. The world teaches us that no one really cares. Pack your shit, get up and go do something about it.
Like
you know
stop
what I-
crying.
Yeah.
Like the
Toughen up.
default was like, oh,
Rub the dirt
toughen
in it.
up.
Toughen
Yeah.
up. You know what I mean, and then get to work. You know what I mean. So
And I think on top of that, just to add to that, I think for me, what I've always done since a young age, because I think as many siblings as I had, I've always been the one that kind of takes care of my family. That's just how I've always been, just especially because I understand how important it is. I don't think a lot of people do. So on top of that is we take accountability for almost more than what we should,
right.
I mean,
especially me.
shout out to Alex though. He's that type of friend that is actually gonna help you out in like difficult times
Thank you.
in a way that's.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
not a lot of people that are like, I'm not like that. Like I'm a good friend.
Jared's
but,
like, yo, I love you, but
but I bring something else to the table. So like I'm not the friend that's just gonna. I mean, I would if you asked me,
Right.
but like I'm not the be like,
intuitively you're not
yeah.
going to do it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex.
So yeah. Shout out to you, Al.
Thank you.
We're giving flowers here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's just it's weird to see how that can impact the way that you run your life. Like going through all of that in high school, I like, having like almost that weight of the world, like, and it's already a hard time because you're a kid, you just turned 18, you don't know what you're gonna do. Like my parents moved up to Reno right after, so I was like, okay, well, me being 18, I have no idea what I'm doing in my life. Like, I guess I'm moving up to Reno because I knew I wanted to go to school. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna go to school somewhere, I might as well do Reno. I grew up with, I'm not gonna say we were dirt poor, but we weren't even, we might have been like very low end of low middle class, if that. We were, I would say upper lower class, if that's like the best way to say it. Like we're the high end of being poor. Like I had shoes to go to school. Like I had
I'll
stuff.
fuck with that.
Yeah.
But like growing up with that adversity, especially in a place like Gardnerville, like Gardnerville's a very rich town. So everyone, it felt like everyone there had money, you know? So it's hard to be around that. And then like thinking about that growing up, and then like once you're an adult, you're like, oh shit, like now I have to figure out how to like.
Why? Were you comparing yourself to the other teens or kids?
Yeah, especially because it was like.
That were driving their dad's Jaguars.
Right.
And
Yeah. Like that, or like, oh man, we're going on the boat in Tahoe this weekend.
Sick.
Okay. I've never been on a boat. Like,
Yeah.
it was that kind of like overlooming feeling that I think not control, but like motivated, which is a great topic of today, motivated me to like when I started being an adult, really starting to think about things in a different light. Like I watched how bad credit can mess up a life. Like I watched how, you know, credit problems control my parents, medical bills control my parents. Like they didn't have the freedom to do what they wanted because they were too busy worrying about shit, I need to pay this bill. Shit, I need to like fix my credit. I need to make sure I'm not behind on XYZ. And I think that was a big problem in what I saw. So when I grew up and I moved to Reno, I was like, all right, cool. What am I going to do? Let me at least try to go to school. I enrolled in school. I did terrible. I had no discipline. And I remember the pivotal turning point in my life was July 4th of 2010. July 4th. Independence Day.
That's how you know it's real when there's fucking timestamp.
Right, when I remember the time.
Wait, what's the year?
2010. Because I graduated in June.
Okay.
Moved up.
My beautiful dark twisted fantasy.
Yeah, tried to do summer school. It didn't work. So I remember I was going up to Tahoe for 4th of July. Don't recommend. But I remember like my friends hit me up, they're like, hey, we're all up here. And I was like, I'm not doing anything today. Let's go. So I was coming down 395 right here on the freeway over by Audi. I got into a 32 car pileup. Some lady's tire blew out, smashed into 3 other cars, and then everyone smashed into each other.
Oh, because they couldn't stop it.
Darn.
Right. And like I was good. I stopped in time, but the giant truck behind me did not.
Oh.
I stopped in time. There's a Toyota Camry right in front of me, a gold Toyota Camry. And I just remember being like, oh, okay, cool, I'm good. And then all of a sudden I look at my rearview mirror, I'm like, oh, fuck. And it was like one of those things like they tell you not to tense up an accident. I straight up grabbed everything. And it sucked because it was like, that car was like my baby. I bought it when I was 17 after working 2 jobs. Like it meant a lot to me, and it destroyed. And I remember like that happened. I had no car, which is hard when I was living with my parents instead. So when you're already once again hella outside of town.
I lived that life.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, what do I do, man? Like I have no discipline. I was going out, I was partying all the time. Back in the day when Reno used to have 18 and up clubs, when we had like Cadillac Ranch.
They used to have that.
We had Cadillac Ranch, we had Rise. Yeah, you know, like we had things that
Club Underground.
Club Underground. Oh my God, bro. To think that that's the bird now is insane.
Is that? Oh shit!
Yeah,
it is, huh?
dude.
Oh shit! I forgot that's the same.
Wild.
Place.
So yeah, man, like just going through that, and then I'm like, okay, man, I don't know what to do. And I was like, man, I always had military influences in my life. Like both my grandfathers who passed before I was born, they were both in the military. I did ROTC in high school to like kind of cram all my credits together as much as I could, and I was like, that's already gonna get me like a really good promotion when I get in. So I was like, all right, bet. I guess we're joining the military. And I took the ASVAB and they're like, dude, you can do whatever you want. Like I had such a high ASVAB score. They're like, all right, pick whatever you want. And I was like, I mean, I'll go talk to the Air Force, you know, see what's up. Hated it. As soon as I walked in, I just felt the vibe. I was like, man, y'all don't do anything. Like y'all don't do what I want to do. I was, yeah, exactly. Like I was a kid, man. I wanted to go like do shit. And like the Air Force, yeah, it's cool. Like you get to travel, you get to have like really good, like intelligent jobs that give you a good career after. But I was short-sighted. I wasn't thinking about that. I was like, man, I want to go to war, bro. Like,
stuff.
Right. I was like, I wanted to
blow shit up.
Exactly. So after it was crazy. Like, and then so I went over to the Army and they're like, all right, cool. You got this, this, and this. I picked a couple jobs. They kept falling through. And then finally I was like, you know what, dude, I just need to get out of here. Like, put me in the infantry. I'm done. Like, get me out of Reno. And like, I signed up for the infantry, went all the way in. thank God there was one last dude who, like, right before I signed up was like, yo, man, you don't want to do that. Like, the infantry literally just takes bullets. Like, do something that at least will protect you a little bit. Like, I get that you want the action, the event, like all that stuff. Be a tanker. You know what I'm saying? Go shoot tanks. At least you're inside of a giant metal can, like, that can stop bullets. It's better than being outside getting shot at. And I was like, all right, bet. Let's do that. And that was that. I think that was another, like, I think about the timeline of my life. I think about that was like another big pivotal point.
Yeah, because I knew you were in the army, but then we barely talked about it. Like, I don't even know how long you were in the army for.
It's crazy because, like, I think about it now and it feels like another lifetime, and I try to treat it as such.
Yeah.
Because I let it control my life for so long after I got out that it didn't really allow me to be who I am now. You know, like, it took me a long time to, like, let that shit go.
Yeah.
Because it was just a lot, man.
Is it like the PTSD?
Yeah, it's like a mix of that. It's a mix of, like,
Alex been through some shit.
really, like, getting the, he knows. I've talked to him in depth, but it's like, it's the mix of that. It's the mix of, like, being trained to think a certain way, to act a certain way, to treat other people a certain way.
Yeah, because they do kind of
Drill that into your head.
Right. And it's like,
brainwash. I don't know if that's the right term. But
Along the same line.
yeah, I mean, brainwash seems a little dramatic, but, like, it is definitely one of those things where it's like they instill values in you. You know, they have core values. I don't remember what they are. Which Home Army Boys, I'm sorry, I don't remember the core values.
I don't know why I'm picturing Alex as the Winter Soldier getting, like, you know what I'm saying, electrocuted, like what?
But no, and I think that gave me my discipline. You know, like,
that's fair.
I joined the army. I hated it, bro. Within the first, like, week, I was like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like, what did I sign up for? Shit. And I remember getting to basic training and I was like, oh, dude, I don't know if I can do this. Like,
you don't have a choice. You're already
yeah, right. Like, people yelling at me. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, bro, how do I get out of this? And then, like, I'm watching people that are, like, failing around me and I'm like, bro, I can do this. If they, like, this is really fucked up to say, but in my mentality at the time, being an 18-year-old kid, I was like, if they can't do this, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm watching these dudes quit, nah, bro, I can do this.
Yeah. I think when you're, like, younger too, your competitive nature is a little bit more like higher. Like,
you're at 18, you think you can do anything.
Yeah.
And like, you're basically a kid, and you're like kid, adult kind of.
You're a kid brain in the adult body.
Right.
Exactly.
And what was even better is that, like, I wasn't strong, but I was quick, bro. Like, I was in shape because I only weighed 110 pounds. My weigh-in for basic training was 110 pounds.
Have you seen any old Alex pictures?
I'm gonna have to show you.
No.
It's crazy.
Dude, he looked.
I know he was like skinny back in the
Right.
day.
Twiggy.
Yeah.
It looked like someone, like, put a stump and just, like.
He looks like a different person.
Yeah,
he looks
it
like a
was
different
crazy.
person.
But yeah, man. Like, I think once I got in, I was like, okay, I have two options. I think this is where my mind started changing. I was like, I can quit. And a lot of these people that were quitting were getting stuck there longer than you would have been if you just would have went through it. Because, like, they almost punish you for quitting, right? They're like, okay, you want to quit? You're going to go do laundry duty for the next 3 months while everyone you watch that you could have been with.
Wait, so when people quit, they don't just go home? They just.
Nah, bro. You got to stay there and
they
do
stay
extra.
there?
Yep. You got to stay and do extra work.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, dude.
So might as well do it.
Exactly. And that's what I noticed. I was like, bro, at least I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
Right? Like, at least, yeah, it sucks. I'm not getting paid a lot, but at least I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid to wake up and work out every day and learn shit. I mean, things could be worse. I could be quitting like they are and folding laundry and mopping the floor. Like, you saw them mop the floor, but, like, they were doing it all the time. And they were getting shit on because they quit. So it was like they got their uniforms stripped off, bro. They couldn't even wear the same uniform. Like, they were in white t-shirts and, like, sometimes they had, like, the same bottoms on, but most of the time, like,
I didn't
that's
know
how you
that.
knew they were a dropout.
People just like, if you quit, you can just go home.
Nah,
It's rough.
it takes a while for you to get home.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, so then it was at that moment where I was like, all right, cool. I can do this. Who's the fastest runner? His name was Starner. I won't ever forget him, Thomas Starner. I remember the first time we took our PT test, I was like, bet. I've been running track my whole life. Bet. And I beat him for, like, the first mile and a half, and then he came out of nowhere, bro. But he was like 6'3" and he was long, bro. So I think I ran my first 2 mile in 11 minutes and 3 seconds. He ran it in 10:52. And he set
Longer stride.
Yeah.
Bigger stride, man.
I think he set one of the records too, and I was like, ugh. But after that, I was like, all right, cool, man, I can do this. And then once I graduated, I was like, all right, I still hated it. You know, I
How
still
long were
hated
you in the Army for?
total 7 years, but I did 4 active and then 3 in the National Guard.
And then you were deployed somewhere too, right?
Yeah, I was deployed in multiple places. I started in Korea, did that whole thing.
Oh yeah, you told me about
Yeah,
that.
and that was the thing is like, when I got to Korea, I was still hating the Army. I was still like, man, this was a mistake. Why did I do this to myself? But then I started going out. And then once I started going out, I was like, oh, this is great.
Like, this is kind of fun.
Right. I'm like, I get to travel all these places and like go see the culture.
Yeah,
like,
you've been to like different countries, right?
right. And so like when I was scared, man. Like I had never been outside of Nevada or California before, because all my family's in Cali. But like, I was born and
Like
raised
before
here.
that?
Right. I'd only ever been to Nevada and California,
Shit.
and then like going to basic training was in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So I'd still never technically left the States. And I remember like getting on the plane, bro. I was perspiring, bro. Like there was sweat in weird places. Like the creases of my knees, I could feel sweat, and I was like, nah, bro, I don't like this. Like, you know, when the hair on your front leg
Is
gets
it one
wet?
of those like the AC-130s, or is it like
No, it was a normal.
commercial?
It was a normal airline. But yeah, man, I just remember getting there and I was like, shit. I don't think I even really knew anyone going at the same time I was, even from basic training. So I was like, I was really going by myself, and I landed monsoon season.
Was this in Korea?
Yeah, first day of monsoon season, and it was wet, bro. Like
That ain't
wet,
none. We
wet.
from the Philippines.
Yeah,
bro.
y'all be
We
getting
know about
typhoons
that
and
life.
shit. I know.
Ain't none.
But yeah, man, I remember landing and just being like, all right, so this is new. Like, how am I gonna and the worst part was I was still talking to people from home. So like I hit you up and be like, oh man, how's it going? And you're like, oh cool, man, like I just went out all night. Like
Yeah.
I'm living the
Also,
life.
you're
I got my
talking to your
college
friends that were,
right,
like,
that are
still
like still in
partying.
college and stuff like that. Like the few friends that I have from high school or that I met in Reno. And they're like, yeah, you know, they're partying, they're like going out. I'm seeing like pictures of them on Facebook from like in Tahoe and stuff, and I'm like, tear. You know, like I'm just sad. But like I said, once I started going out, I was like, this is kind of dope. Like I get to experience a whole new culture. The rules, you couldn't leave the post itself for the first 30 days. You couldn't get a tattoo for the first 3 months. You actually weren't supposed to get a tattoo at all. And then you couldn't like go out past a certain time. Bro, the second day my ass was like as far away from base as you could get, out at like
You
2
were
a.m.
breaking the rules.
Oh, immediately. I got a tattoo the third day I was there. Cause I was like, fuck,
What'd they do?
Rule
They-
breaker.
nothing.
Nothing?
That was the thing is they
Not
were
nothing until they see
right, you're
this
gonna see
shit.
this and then be like locked up and be like, but yeah, man, like they were good at keeping like track of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But on the weekends it was kind of like a free for all. Like my direct leader didn't give a fuck. He was like,
Oh, so is it kind of like a 9 to 5, or you just like work the weekdays?
I
and then you
mean,
get
the
weekends
thing about the
off?
army is like it's 24/7, right? Like they will wake
Because
you,
that's what in my head I was like, when do you get time off?
they will wake your ass up at 2 a.m. and do some crazy shit.
Oh, okay.
Some crazy stupid shit too. But it's like, what's nice about Korea is a lot of people call it like a vacation station kind of thing, because it's like Korea, yes, they have a bunch of extra training that you're supposed to do because you're there, but what's dope about Korea is you celebrate American holidays and you get to celebrate Korean holidays, because the whole country in Korea shuts down for their holidays, so you can't really work because half the workforce in Korea is Koreans,
Oh, okay.
because they have their own army, and then they have their augmentation where like they work with us directly, and so you know they got to celebrate their holidays. So you get way more time off than you normally would like at home. So it's cool. So like most of the time you do get the weekends off, but like if you're training, you have to go to the field, you would go, you know, be at the field. And when you don't have time off, you start to realize how important taking time to yourself really is. And like taking time to actually enjoy your life is. Cause it's cool being around the same like 30 dudes for a little bit. And then after a while you're like, yo man, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
I need something. I need some type. I don't even care. Like there was a point where I was like, you know, as men, we crave female attention. But there was a point where I was like, I don't even care if it's like someone who doesn't even speak English, bro. Like I just want to talk to someone who isn't American. I'm just so tired of like being around Americans when I'm in a different country. It just
Yeah.
felt so invalid.
You ain't gotta lie, Alex. We know the Korean girls got it like that. You know what I'm saying?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Didn't date one the whole time I was there. I ended up dating an American. That's the worst part.
That sounds more like a you problem.
It wasn't me problem, but I mean, it wasn't a bad relationship. It taught me a lot, so it was worth it.
So after the army, you started going to. Where did the dance come from?
man,
Were you
it's-
dancing before
No,
that?
man, it took a while. I mean, like I would dance at the club, you know, like
Yeah.
everyone else does. But like I was aggressively dancing at the club. Like some dude would like start
You're
moving.
that creeper in the club.
No, not like that. I've never gone up to a girl and been like it's weird, bro. Like it's uncomfortable for everyone. It's uncomfortable for the people watching.
True. I don't think I've ever done that.
It's weird. Like I don't know how guys do that shit.
I've had girls like, you know, initiated, but
That's different. If you make eye contact and you're both like approaching each other,
but as a dude, you never want to be the guy that is imposing yourself on
right.
something.
And I think I figured that out way early. Like having them 18 and up clubs, I would watch dudes do it, and I'd watch what the reaction of the girls, and I was like, that feels wrong, man. Like I don't think we should be doing that. Yeah. And so I would never do it. I would dance on the side. I'd dance on a wall. Most of the time I go to the club by myself because fuck it, who's gonna go with me? But I would see people that, like I'd see like a dude like hit a couple moves, and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go battle this motherfucker. I had no idea what I was doing.
just gonna say, Alex is like the guy that when I used to go to the club, I used to hate this because I would go to the club and I'd be dancing with a girl and some dude would come up to me and try to battle. I'm like, bro.
You know what's crazy is I probably did it to him before I even knew him.
And Alex is the guy that he gives me that energy, like the dudes that would come up to me and be like, hey, do you try and battle? Like, no, I'm trying to dance with her. Like, what are you doing?
Hey, shout out to stopping a lot of horrific nights though. You know what I'm saying? Could have went bad, but no. Yeah, man, I got out, and that was the thing is I didn't fully get out because like once I was out of active after because I came back from deployment, fucked up. All of us did. So my drinking was out of control, bro. Like that was the only thing because that's the only thing you can do in the army. You can't smoke, you can't do drugs, you can't do anything else. So the only thing you can do is drink. So me and my homie Danny, shout out my brother Danny, drank excessively. We were going through like 2 bottles of Hennessy in a week, if not more.
Wait, this is when you got home.
When I got back from Afghanistan, yeah. So like we're still in the army drinking heavily, bro. Like we'd be so fucked up till like 3 a.m, wake up at 6 and go run 10 miles.
Why? Just to numb things out?
Yeah, because we had no idea how to deal with the shit that happened. We had no idea how to talk to each other about it. We definitely didn't know how to talk to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And when you come back from deployment, you're supposed to do a psych exam. But that's the thing. If you tell them something's wrong, they will kick you out, or they will figure out a way to like get you in trouble for it.
Is that why people are just like?
That's why they don't talk about it.
Yeah,
because it's like if you talk about it, they see something's wrong with you.
Damn, that's kind of fucked up.
There's a correlation between suicides and veterans.
It's bad. It's 20. It used to. I don't know if it's still, but it used to be 22 a day.
22 a day?
No, that might be wrong. 20. It might have been 22 a week or a month.
There's a correlation.
I gotta look it up. My stats are wrong. I'm so sorry. I should know this, but
regardless, that's still a lot.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was bad, but yeah. So it was like I was just drinking heavily. So by the time I got out, like I cut back a little bit, but it wasn't really enough to make a difference. Like I came home and I was still like not in a great.
So when you were drinking and doing all that, like, did you feel like things were better?
No.
Did you feel better, or was it just?
No, it was just every time I felt bad, I was like, okay, cool, let's take a shot. I'm starting to feel sad, or I'm starting to remember something. Like, dude, Danny, what was dope is like Danny and I connected really well from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like I said, shout out my homie Danny. He's one of my favorite people in the world. He was actually from the Bay. So that's how we met. We connected. I was like, oh man, all my family's from the Bay, man. I'm in the Bay all the time. Exactly. Hey. And so him and I were, we got really, really close together in Afghanistan. Then when we came back, we actually ended up rooming together in the barracks. And so, he'd wake up at 2 a.m. He'd have a flashback or something like that. He'd wake me up, be like, yo, let's drink. I'm like, say less. I'd wake up, I'd have a flashback.
Hey, you just wake up and start drinking?
Bro, and then we'd be fucked up going on runs in the morning.
Bruh.
We'd go on company runs that took, 10, 11 miles. We'd throw up every couple miles and just push through. That's how
long ago was this?
That was 2014.
So 10 years ago.
God damn.
I don't know why when people mention years, I don't know why my brain automatically classifies, it goes into like what years certain albums came out. So like that's how I classify time periods in my head.
That's a good way to do it.
Like 2014 was like fucking Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole shit. You know what I'm saying? So,
I was listening to that shit.
I think it just goes straight to like, what were you into during that time?
Yeah. I mean,
so it's
because
don't save her. I don't want to be.
Because Nothing Was the Same came out what, end of 2013, beginning of 14.
I think that was 2012.
Was it? See, that's my thing. My album, like, time reference.
Yeah, I have no idea when albums come out.
I could win a fucking hip hop trivia song. It's a weird talent I have.
True, it is. But yeah, man. And then like once I got home, I was with my family, but I fell into like a really bad spot. I thought that the only way to stay this like strong, aggressive, like violent person was to, you know, do violent shit. So my ass was like, okay, I know people in gangs. Like, I know people that trap. Let me hit up my boys. Like,
Super aggro, man.
I know. That's the headspace I was in, man. So like, I knew I was gonna go to school. I knew I wanted to do that because that's what I got out of active for. I was like, okay, like I don't want to sit here and push myself through more of this because I could be using, you know, the stability that I have to go back to school. Like the military gave me stability in the sense of like finances. It taught me how to be responsible with my finances. So I was like, okay, I'm in a stable place. I want to maintain that stable place. Let me go to school because, you know, I'm still thinking that as a kid, that's all you're supposed to do is just go to school.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of us
Right.
like taught that.
Yeah,
way.
I mean, we all
Like,
have our
you
degrees. We all
need to
we
go
all
to
did the same
college,
shit. Right.
get a good job,
Yeah.
and then have a family. You know,
Yeah.
you know how it goes.
But I was in this in between where I was like, it's hard to transition, man. It's hard to leave that life with nothing. No one preps you for it. They give you like these.
Is it like after?
Right. They give you these bullshit classes when you get out that don't do anything. They're like, oh, you can find a job here. You can go be a trucker here, but they don't tell you how to like go back to being a normal person. They don't give you the tools to be able to do that. So you have all these veterans that have, especially in the last, think about the last 20, 30 years. Well, last
They're
23
like not
years.
properly reintegrated back into society.
Right. You have all
as-
these people who have just been war. It's just been war nonstop.
What Alex is trying to say is that when you get back from doing service, is you're not in a civilian mindset. You're a soldier.
Still.
So them not having time or not being properly reintegrated, it leaves like a lot of awkward energy, and you know, like not everyone knows how to deal with that. Do you get what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because I mean, I've known you for like what, a couple years now? Probably
been,
2, 3 years,
21?
maybe.
No, I
Yeah.
thought I've been 21. So
Maybe
about
3 years.
Yeah.
Because I do notice that from you though, like you get easily triggered, but I don't take it personally just because I was like, oh, it's probably the PTSD or whatever.
Yeah, and it's gotten better. Which
I mean,
is,
that's probably, I don't know, like a raw
it's true.
perspective,
No,
but
it's
it's like,
yeah, I know. And what's crazy is that like what you guys see as like easy triggers now used to have been.
it's probably a lot worse back in the day.
You would have been like an easy trigger here. It used to be a hairpin trigger. So I got back. I was fighting nonstop. I got 86 from Brew Bros for getting in fights. I got arrested downtown for fighting somebody in the street. Yeah, man, like I was bad, like I said, and like I knew, like I said, I had that responsibility and I knew what I wanted to do, but there was part of me that couldn't let go of like figuring out how to stay. I don't know, man, like in that weird, crazy mindset. So I was like, okay, like I said, I was like, I know people that trap. Let me go hit them up. I knew that I had a good enough life setup where I didn't want to get like overly involved in stuff, like overly involved in criminal activity that I couldn't get myself out of. So I was like, okay, like I don't want to get, I mean, I'm not going to indict myself or incriminate myself in any way. I didn't want to get involved in certain aspects of that life.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just like play on this outside. So I was
You're in that gray area.
right. So I was doing, you know, pickups. I'm just going to call them pickups. And like, it wasn't any
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats. I was doing Uber
Okay.
Eats. There we go.
Foreplay.
Terrible. And there were a couple times, man, where I walked into some violent shit, man. Like, and it's crazy because like a lot of people in Reno are like, oh, Reno's not that bad. Like Reno doesn't have y'all don't realize how many gangs are actually in Reno.
Yeah, I'm kind of oblivious to that.
Yeah, and how many
I
like
haven't really
small
seen
turf
a lot of
wars.
that.
Yeah, and how many small turf wars happen because of it. And
I mean, I see it. It just doesn't hit me as hard because
because we're not in it.
no, but I grew up in California where it was way more obvious.
The Bay is way worse.
The
Yeah.
Bay is different, dude.
Yeah.
Like you see shit, but
Out here, people are a little bit more under the radar about it, and I think because Reno's so like spread out,
yeah,
it's easier to get away with shit. But yeah, man, I remember there was one situation I remember I walked into and I was like, why am I doing this, man? Like, why am I in this environment? Yes, it makes me feel hard. Yes, it gives me that
rush.
validation I thought I needed from like being like keeping that
Yeah.
you know, violent aspect of myself. But I was like, this is stupid, man. Like I am risking everything right now. All this shit that I worked my ass off to get for what? I don't need to be doing this shit. I'll go work at McDonald's. If it's really hard for me to make money, I will go work at McDonald's. I will figure it out. This is not what I need. And that's another part where that perseverance in my life kind of clicked on. It was like, I've been through all this turmoil. Am I going to let that control my life? Am I going to continue to let that serve that part of myself that isn't serving me?
Yeah.
Am I going to continue to give it energy for what? What's the point? And so that's when I was like, okay, man, you're about to start going to school. Remove yourself, move back in with your parents. Because, if I would have lived with myself, it would have been wild. Once you're a bachelor and you're living by yourself, you get into some stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you have roommates that ag you on. He don't. But I'm saying, like, my past roommates used to. So I was like, okay, let me move in with my parents. Like, at least I'll have people I know.
Mm-hmm.
I can pay them a little bit here and there with what I make, and I'm going to school. I can figure that out. So that's when my responsibility kicked back in. Okay, you have discipline, you have responsibility. Take it. Take everything that you learned and go apply it. You get to go to school for free. Take it.
During this time, were you still drinking a lot?
Yeah, because I was dealing with all this stuff of traveling.
So you were still,
So
you were
it's
still doing it.
Right, and it's crazy because, like, a lot of people, when they talk to me, they're like, oh, like, you don't seem uneducated. You don't seem like you're, a thug, but, like, I don't let that shit drive who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to always make sure I didn't. Because, dude, a lot of people in the Army, especially in the Army, are aggro, man, like over the top.
Yeah.
Like when dudes get aggro, like overly aggro, it makes me uncomfortable now. Like I think about like when I was a kid, and, like you're 20 years old, you're all like,
You're
yeah,
stupid.
right,
Yeah.
you're just dumb. But now when I look at it, I'm like, man, I used to look like that. That makes me feel weird.
No, it's true. Comes a point in every man's life where you stop thinking like a little kid. But
Right.
unfortunately for us, it happens way later. I feel like
Yeah.
for girls, their brain matures way earlier.
Yeah,
than
women
we
mature
do.
at a way quicker age. than
I'm
we
talking about especially in our 20s.
Mhm.
That's where the separation is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, because I think I started more become a little bit more mature when I turned like maybe like 27. So
Yeah, like your
late-
late, your late 20s.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
when I
that's
was
a good time.
just kind of like, maybe I should like try to figure out my life and
yeah.
see where this is going.
Well, that's where I think I started understanding who I was. And like I talk about, being a perseverant person and like having the motivation and having that drive. I didn't know that I had it because I was just like doing it.
Yeah, in the
I wasn't self-aware of what was happening. But then I realized, like, once I started going back to school, I was like, okay, yes, the Army will pay for school out the gate, but what if I'm terrible at it? Like, what if I'm like really, really bad? Because it's been 4 years since I've been in school.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me pay for the first semester myself. So I was working at the Walmart warehouse on the USA Parkway. I was working 312s, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I was going to school Tuesday through Friday. So I paid for that shit myself. And I was like, okay, if I can put myself through school and still get through it, then yeah, I can do this. I can dial back my job a little bit, but I wanted, I wanted money because once you get out from not having money, you're like, shit, I want money now. So I put myself through the first semester of school, first 2 semesters of school actually, and then I let the Army start kicking in their bit. I got my associates, but like it felt like every year had a milestone or something that I had to push through to be able to stay focused. I remember the first year, I just went through a bunch of bad relationships, man. Like just nothing was working. I couldn't understand how to be there for someone else
Mm-hmm.
because I was still going through so much shit myself. I had no idea how to like let my shit go to let somebody else in. And I think for a long time, shit, I still have issues with it, man. Like I'm not gonna lie. I still
Hey, I was gonna say
Shout out for
props
self-awareness.
props for opening up right now because a lot of men don't even bother mentioning shit. So keep going, please.
But yeah, and it was like after that, next semester I crashed my motorcycle, and I was in a cast. I ripped all my skin off my left leg, took a couple millimeters off my ankle, fucked my shit up. Pushing through that, trying to go to school. Oh my god! And I had a stick shift car, bro. It was brutal. And then yeah, man, I was in a decent relationship, but I just didn't know how to be in a relationship, man. It bothered me because I was like, I know that I'm fucking up, but I can't stop myself from doing it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how. I don't know how to like let go of my shit to like embrace someone else's.
I've always kind of wondered when people think like that. It's like, do you really don't know how, or do you just not want to like change?
I think it was a both.
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah,
Huh?
I think it's both because I think you're still trying
Like
to shed.
because you already know you're fucking up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's
So
crazy
it's-
about this particular topic? I'm kind of triggered right now because
Yeah.
I feel like the time that I did have like such good women in my life, I was not ready up here,
Bro.
dude, mentally. Like if I knew what I know now as far as relationships and I guess women in general, like fuck, I would be a much better partner at the time, but I was so young, like, and I'm not saying that as an excuse, but it's just like it's just the reality of being a man is like that part of our brain just doesn't kick in until you're a little bit older.
Yeah.
And man, like, just I wish that I had known all this stuff, but also like I wouldn't trade the journey for it.
Yeah.
You know what I
It's
mean?
one of those like you wouldn't know, like you wouldn't learn all this if you didn't go through that.
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is like when girls were interested in me, like my brain wasn't ready for that kind of commitment and for that maturity.
Yeah.
And now that no girls want me, I you know what I'm saying? Like
Now that I'm single,
now I'm
realizing.
like now I'm like there. So it's like the timing is just not helping me out. Anyway,
But no, I mean that's a good point, and I don't want to get too far off track, but it's like it sucks because it happens to all of us, right?
Yeah.
And with the worst, I think yes, it's bad for us. It's always worse for women because think about how many fucked up guys like us they had to go through when they were ready, and they're like, "I'm giving you everything, like I'm doing everything you want me to do," and we're
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
unappreciative.
they get there mentally much sooner than we do. Yeah.
Right. And so, like, think about how many good women that men mess up because we're not ready.
Guilty.
Yeah, guilty. I mean, I've fucked up so many relationships I can't even count. If there's so many good people in my life that I was not appreciative at the time, and I just didn't realize until way, or not maybe sometimes not way after, but like after.
Yeah.
And then the guilt, dude, the guilt that brings for me, like I said earlier, I always try to take the most accountability in every situation because I know that I fucked up, and I'm my hardest critic.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm hard on myself. I'm like, I am like, there's people that are hard on themselves, and then I'm like, bro, I get to the point of damn near hating myself, and it sucks.
Yeah. And I think
feel
it's
I feel it.
yeah, all of that is a good point, but then it's also when you're in a relationship, it's also it's a two-way street.
Right.
So like it's not like it's all your fault. I mean, there's, you know, whatever the situation is. And cuz like that's kind of true that you've probably been there before where you fucked up like some innocent girl
Colossally.
somehow, and then you've probably been on the other side of that too, like cuz I've been on both sides.
Right.
Right. Oh,
So-
darn. Darn.
Pause.
We'll talk about that on a different podcast.
That's a different
But
podcast.
it's yeah, because I don't know, like it's just part of the experience. Like your life right now is all accumulative of all the experiences that you have.
Right. That's what I mean. I have
Yeah.
so much wisdom now, but like, you know, like there was a bunch of girls that were wifey material at the time where I just was a kid up here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now it's just the dating market sucks. At least for me, not a good
You're
experience.
also in Reno, so
I don't think the place really matters.
I don't think.
I think it
yeah.
does. Well, you guys didn't grow up here. I know too many people in Reno now. That's my problem. Is that like, well, I thank God I don't have to worry about the dating market anymore. But like, when I was like, man, like
That's because you were a
there's-
slut.
Well, damn. Next topic.
Anyways.
I'm gonna plead the fifth, but yeah, man. I mean, let's back it up a little bit. Going back, the perseverance comes also in relationships, man. Is like if you're in this place where you don't know what to do, are you gonna try to stay strong and work it out? Well, all relationships suck. Not all relationships suck. All relationships have hard times.
Right.
All relationships are gonna have arguments.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to sit there and you're going to argue it out, or are you going to quit? But there's a very, very important line that you need to understand from what is toxic
Yeah.
and what is workable. So, and I think we get lost, especially as men, because we are not as good at discussing and communicating, that we don't know what's toxic sometimes and what's like what's fixable and what can just be solved with communication, and what is like, oh no, like I'm just going in circles. Am I going in circles, or am I doing the wrong thing? And it takes a lot to figure that out.
I mean, that's part of being self-aware. Like, how aware are you with what you're doing? It's like,
Bro,
because when I think, at least, like when you become a little bit more aware, like you know what's toxic and what's I guess in progress or workable.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
it's your choice. Like if you want to stay in this, like is this really the right relationship for me or a right situation or whatever it is. But yeah, like there's a lot of, man, I really want to dive into like dating like in this podcast, like somehow, like I obviously like want to invite
maybe you
like
should have a
girls in
separate
here.
segment for that. Or
Yeah,
something.
like I want to invite like different perspective from
Yeah,
you know.
I think it's a great idea, because then you can, not to get like gender bias here, but like it'd be cool to get both sides of the relationship.
Yeah.
Like from a masculine point of view, like where does this where is your head at?
Mm-hmm.
But from a feminine point of view, like where's yours? Like
Yeah.
you know, and then you're almost doing couples therapy.
Yeah, in a way.
It's cool to have that though.
I feel like this podcast is pretty much therapy.
It is, and I think that's what's the best engagement for podcasts. Is
Yeah.
like who can listen to these things and relate.
Exactly.
Who's going to get the most benefit out of them? And
Right.
you know, if like I have therapy sessions with Raph all the time,
Mhm.
and it's like we don't know that they're therapy sessions because we're just talking. But
Right.
like, I don't think either one of us realize that how much it does help each other. Like I've grown a lot since you moved in. I feel like you have too, and like we've had more of a connection than we would have had if we weren't.
Yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes we get on each other's nerves because we're roommates. We're fucking around each other all the time.
Also, that's just the nature of our broship. So I mean,
True.
Yeah.
Broship's crazy.
you know what's crazy? Me and Alex are like I have 5 sisters, dude. Like
You do.
I do, and
I
like
didn't know that.
I don't have any brothers, and like I feel like if I did have a brother, this is like the closest thing to that. So
Appreciate that.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's basically what we are.
And it's crazy because like I have 5 sisters too. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers. Do I talk to any of them? Hell no, bro. Like they are so far disconnected from
But
me.
you
Like,
pretty much get annoyed at me like a brother. So
right.
Like,
There are definitely times where I'm like, man, I'm gonna kick this motherfucker down the stairs.
So now that you're 10 years away from
From getting out.
getting out,
oh
like
shit, it is, huh?
where are you at now mentally? Like do you think
Still not good.
average?
Not good, my G. Not good. No. You know what's crazy is this is actually it didn't even hit me that actually I think I got out July 11th was my actual date that I got out. So it's been exactly 10 years now.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it this month because I've had so much going on. But yeah, it was weird because I wasn't myself. Even when I was getting out and I was like going through all this stuff, I was going through college, I still wasn't really myself. I had no sense of style because I didn't care. I had so much other shit to worry about that I was like, this is not important to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
All I care about was getting through school and like trying to figure out who I was. It felt like I was going through puberty all over again, but with money and like freedom, which is a crazy thing to be feeling, to going through that again. But then you have money to go with it, and you get to do what you want. It's crazy. I'm buying unnecessary shit that I don't need.
Yeah.
Right?
Still does.
I mean, necessity is a playing field, bro. But yeah, so I mean, I think where I started to realize like I wasn't really myself was like towards the end of college. Not to get too deep, but I think my junior year of college was probably the hardest because I realized that I was like, oh man, my major isn't really what I want it to be. I'm going through these classes.
That's
that I'm
every
not-
college. I feel like
Yeah.
most college students probably feel that way.
Right, you're going through that, and then like I'm starting to realize like I'm getting overweight. I haven't been on my gym shit. Like I've been in and out of the gym for the majority of my life, but I've never been consistent with it to actually see like real results.
Mm-hmm.
That was bothering me a lot. I didn't really know where my life was headed. I was getting to that point where I had been out for such a long period of time. Like shout out also to my brother Nathan. Like if I didn't have Nate during that time, I don't know what I would have done, because I met him when I got to the National Guard. Him and I would kick it. We found a way to kid together. We got super close, and that's why, like, to this day, I consider him my brother.
That's a good dude right there.
Yeah, and I don't get to see him enough, and I'm trying to get better at that for sure. Nate, I'm coming for you. But yeah, like, if I didn't have him and we didn't have each other, I don't know where I would have been. Especially, like, as men, we don't communicate like, you know, people do. Like, there's times where I don't talk to y'all for days.
Yeah.
Or weeks. And it sucks, but it's part of being an adult, and it's part of just, like, being busy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think junior year was that time where I was like, okay, man, like, I'm older than everybody. Going to college when you're older than everybody is weird, man. Hella weird. But I remember I started dating this girl, and I was, like, serious, man. Like, she was in ROTC, so, like, I started getting glimpses of my old life because she was in ROTC, which means she was going to go into the Army as an officer. It's like, okay, bet. I can go back in. I'll figure out a less violent thing to do, but I can go back in and, like, I can make that my life again. I would have done it for her, right? And, you know, we're serious, and, like, well, we're not serious. Like, we're a month, 2 months in, we're getting to know each other. We're starting to, like, establish
like that's not that serious. 2 months in.
No, but, like, we're spending a lot of time together.
Yeah.
But we're spending hours staying up to, like, 2 or 3 talking. Like, we're getting deep.
Yeah.
And chill. It's crazy. We have a tied brain at this point. We're sharing the same brain cell because I know what his dumbass is gonna say. But yeah, man, like, we're getting into it. I'm starting to, like, kind of think about what my life path is gonna be.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, man, just one day out of nowhere, she just kills herself. And I'm like, damn, like, that sent me into, like, a hole.
Yeah.
And that was a hole I didn't think I was getting out of, because I don't remember the day very well. I remember the call. I remember being told. I remember going to the apartment complex, but I don't remember anything for, like, the next, I don't know, 3 days. Because I blacked out. I was, like, between just the shock and the grief, and then I was like, okay, what do I know how to do best to deal with this shit? Drink my life away. And I remember, like, the third or fourth day I snapped out of it, I was like, shit, man, it was the beginning of the semester.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to drop out of school? But there's a big part of me that was like, man, if you drop out, are you going to go back? And you're already in junior year, man. You're already damn near
you're
almost there.
done. Yeah.
Like, just finish. And so thank God for the professors that I had that were very understanding, which is normally not the case in college. So that took, I think, the most motivation and perseverance at the time, up until that point, even through the Army, to, like, focus. I couldn't really, I didn't want to talk to anybody because I mean, I still do. I still bear so much guilt for it. You know how people are like, oh, you know, it's not your fault. You couldn't have known. I don't give a fuck who tells me that. You know what I'm saying? Like, my role model could tell me that. I'd be like, you can go fuck yourself, bro. Like, I'm never...
To this day.
To this day.
Feel guilty.
To this day. Because it's something... There's cues that I missed that they even train you to see in the Army. They play this dumbass video for the Army that's like, oh, yeah, man, he was worried, so I took his firing pin out of his weapon.
Mm.
I saw her weapon the day before. If I would have had... You know, if I would have been thinking like that, sure, but I wasn't. And so, yeah, it's not your fault. I get that. But, like, that guilt is probably never going to go away. It's manageable now. And I think being able to manage that guilt has helped me get through it. And that's what I'm talking about, is, like, I let myself sit in that spot. That was one of the times in my life where I let myself sit in that spot of guilt, and, like, I let it take over my life. And I thought I was never going to feel like that again. And then I did not too long ago. But, like, at that point, I was like, okay, once I pulled myself out, I was like, okay, how did I just pull myself out? I remember I was in my house. I was sitting on the floor doing homework, and I was like, dude, you haven't gone outside other than to go to class in a minute, bro. Like, you haven't done anything. Go do something. Like, go, like, be a social person. Go, like, at least interact with people. Like, I think I hung out with Nate a couple times. I had some roommates that I would see, but, like, I wasn't open. I wasn't the person you guys know today. That's for damn sure. I wasn't extroverted at all. And I think just having that sense of self-awareness, noticing that you're harming yourself, man. You're not taking care of yourself. I definitely wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't working out. I was eating like shit. I was drinking. I like I wasn't a good person, you know?
Yeah, the thing about being in a rock bottom is like you feel your absolute worst, but then there's also like there's only way up after that.
Right.
Yeah, it can't get any lower.
Yeah, it can't get any worse, or maybe it can, but it's just like, all right, like everything's shit.
Yeah.
What should
What
I
are
do
you gonna
now? Yeah.
Yeah, you know those
It's like a trigger. Like, all right, it's probably time to get my shit
right, you
together
know
a
those
little bit.
those graphics that are like progression is a linear path, and like they have like the guy like digging in like
Yeah.
the mountains and shit.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this today as like when I talk about sitting in something for too long. If you sit in that valley, that deep point, your strength's depleted, the motivation that you had is gone. It's going to be so much harder to climb out of that than it would be for you to sit in it, realize that you need to let your emotions be for a second, but not let them take over. Use it as motivation to get out of that place.
Yeah. But then it's when you're at that dark place.
It's hard.
Like, when do you know it's time to go? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if there's like an actual right answer for it. I think everybody's situation is different.
Right.
Because like when you're in that dark place, it's so hard to think like, oh, I can just be positive right now. Like, you can't.
Yeah. You can't
It's
just be like, oh, I'm
a,
positive.
Yeah, it's like a step by step. Like there's like anger, sadness maybe, and then like
that massive depression.
yeah, it's just like it's step by step. I don't think you can massively just, oh, now I'm like love and light. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's a lot to be said about depression, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's
What is
That's
it?
a whole different topic. By
What does
itself.
it take depression and rock bottom to turn us into who we are today?
I think that's just part of
I think that's
being
part-
a human,
and
man.
I'm,
Like,
I'm
that's-
sorry for laughing. This
I think
this is
that's-
how I deal with life. I just laugh at
I
everything.
honestly think that's a prerequisite for.
Right. There's no way you're going to get to be a good person or a self-aware person without
Yeah.
depression. And it sucks that we have to go through that as humans to get to that place.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're designed that way, but I think it's just
Yeah.
part of human nature, man.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
Because like there's only like struggle, like I guess gives like growth.
right.
So like if you don't struggle, like you're not really growing in a way.
Yeah. And I mean, the good analogy of that is like you see weeds grow on concrete. You don't think that shit's hard? We can grow in the dirt easily, bro. Like going through a solid force, that's crazy.
And they still do it.
And they still do it. Be a weed.
What's the Kendrick line? If I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you?
The man started the intro like this, and he was like, "Yo, man."
But you know,
I remember when the first time I heard that, I was like, "All right, Kendrick, we get it." But yeah, man, I think that's something to be said about how you handle yourself, you know. And I think that was another milestone in my journey. And then I graduated, and I was still just kind of like, cool, I'm doing marketing now. What's this about? Got a really good job out the gate. Deal with a lot of adversity with that, man. Not getting paid, not knowing what I was doing, leading business meetings with people when I had no idea what I was talking about, bro. I'm in the Salesforce Tower in San Francisco, talking to the whole sales and marketing team, and I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know what I'm doing. I've been even been doing this for a year, bro.
sounds smart right now.
Right.
Like,
And
big words.
Big fan of fake it till you make it, bro. Big fan of fake it till you make it, especially in dance. Like we were talking about dancing the awkwardness away. Sometimes you got to fake that confidence, man. Like you got to have that confidence that you don't really have.
Yeah, that's fair.
And eventually it comes, you know?
Yeah.
And it builds you as a person, man. And people are like, oh, like I've been listening to a lot of people on Instagram and podcasts. They're like, oh, you know, faking it till you make it is toxic. And it's like, it is if you do it the wrong way. 100%.
Yeah.
There's a good way to do it, and there's a bad way.
There's
to
a way
do
that
it
gets
too.
real arrogant, real
Yeah.
quick, and that is not a safe
But then
place to
that's
be.
like when people do that, like, oh, they act confident. Like that's more insecure than, you know what I mean? Like when people like fake it, like, oh, I'm the most confident person here. Like,
Yeah, we can all tell you're insecure,
yeah,
bro. We
you're
know.
insecure as fuck.
We know.
Um,
But I think building on top of your insecurities is a big one too.
yeah,
Like there's a lot of like growing up, I was hell insecure about how small I was, bro. I hated it. People used to make fun of me all the time. Like it's hard enough growing up in a predominantly one race town.
mm-hmm.
Growing up as a mixed kid, like, you know, my mom's white.
Yeah,
You're not gonna look at me and be like, yo, you're white.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah. If you guys can't tell.
right, if you can't tell. But I think having those insecurities of like being made fun of for that stuff, but like lean into it, man.
Yeah,
Be who you are. Like appreciate the parts of yourself that people don't like.
exactly.
Because
Bars.
if you don't, you're gonna think that what they're saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck trying to convince yourself that it's not. Once you start believing that,
Yeah.
Once you start believing other people's bullshit, once you start believing what people say you are, that's what you turn into.
Yeah, because I think when you're insecure, you're just easily convinced that you're not worth shit.
Yeah.
Like if people tell you that, like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're not doing it right. When you're insecure, you're like, fuck, like they're right.
Yeah.
But then that's why I always kind of, I guess, give that advice for just like stop listening to other people. Like seriously, like that's the worst thing that you can do.
Do you think you would be where you are if you listen to people all the time? If
No.
Has anyone ever told you you wouldn't make it in the music industry?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
If-
Maybe I just kind of blocked it off
Right,
in my
right. But
head.
think about it. If someone came up and was like, "You can't start a podcast," like it's not worth it. It's never going to gain traction. Would you still have done it? If you chose to listen to
that's an interesting question. Is because it's been such a long time where I stopped giving a shit. So I don't even remember the time where I was
let's go.
like easily manipulated like that.
Right.
Like I can't even, maybe in like before my early 20s or something like that.
I think for a long time that's what stopped me from dancing,
Oh yeah,
because I would listen to people say like, "You can't start late. Like you would have had to been doing that.
like
since,
you're too old to dance.
you would have had to been doing that shit since you were a kid. Like you would have had to like have so much training." And I listened to that, and I let that influence me not going to like class.
What do your knees think about it?
My knees aren't happy. My knees aren't happy, but my heart's happy.
Sorry,
That's
it's
what's
been
important.
so serious. I just need a little jab
There you
in
go.
there, you know.
Yeah, like that's a good. That's what I'm gonna start telling myself. It's like, yeah, your back and your knees might not be happy, but is your heart happy?
I mean, that's true.
That's more important to me.
Exactly.
I'll get a walk around. I'll give a fuck. I'll be.
At
know what I'm
least
saying? I'll be
at least
rolling.
you can still do it.
I'm gonna be tutting my ass off in a wheelchair one day, bro. You know, what
You're
I'm
gonna
saying?
be
I'll
that-
sitting down, but I'm gonna have to.
You're gonna be that meme or the old guy with the walker, and then you're just
Watch me have a whole routine with a walker, bro.
You know what's crazy is it's funny because I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I was like, God forbid any of us ever end up in a wheelchair. I never want that to happen to any of us. But if I do, you know how great my arguments are going to become?
I am
Argue with me.
around, though.
Argue with me. I'm going to turn my wheelchair around and wheel away from you, bro. That's going to be the greatest storm out of an argument. I'm going to be like, what are you going to do? Get mad? You going to pull my wheelchair back?
What if I lock your brakes?
See, now that's elder.
Sorry,
Tough shit.
Elder abuse. That's elder abuse.
That's getting dark. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Anyways, let's backpedal. Let's go off this tangent real quick. So, do you think perseverance in your life has helped you get to where you are,
Absolutely.
adversity wise? Like, I've been talking. I feel like I've been talking the whole
Yeah.
time. But like, how has your life and your adversity shaped who you are?
For me, I'm just so like stubborn with my goals and my ideas that every other person that tells me otherwise, I just kind of shut it off. It's not like I know, I don't think I know everything,
Right.
but I'd rather figure that shit out for myself than
Then have
listen
someone
to
else tell you.
some random ass person or even my closest people around me. Like I always, if I agree with you, cool, I'll do it. But if I don't, then
Good
you
luck.
know,
Yeah,
it's
good luck trying to have me do
good
something
luck.
different. Yeah.
Because like
Dude.
you guys know me.
Oh, I know.
Like I'm
kid.
I'm spacey. I think I just like I
You're in
can
your
get
own
through,
world,
yeah,
man.
I can
Yeah.
just get sometimes when you're in a group I can just get in my own head. I'm just like, huh. Like
Oh yes, let's say less, bro.
Yeah.
We'd be at parties and I'm like, man, JERiCK is not even here. JERiCK is
Sometimes
sitting
I
right
can
there.
feel
but
like
I'm
that.
like
He's
making
Making a beat in his head.
Right.
It's just like I don't know. Cause like I don't like when you ask me like when was the last time somebody told me something that like, oh, that's not gonna work or whatever. It's just like,
JERiCK is stubborn though. I'd be like, JERiCK,
yeah, he does.
you use 808s.
Yeah, he's been telling me about 808s
You would
for a
make
long
the
time.
sickest beats with
And I'll
808s.
probably-
You just like,
maybe
man.
someday when I feel like it.
See?
You're like, I used to work at this brewery, man, and this guy refused to make hazy beer, and at the time it was popping, bro.
Yeah.
Like, hazy beer was the shit. I was bringing shit. I would travel for beer and bring it back and be like, yo, man, try this. Like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Like, this is what's popping. He refused. Took him damn near after the whole thing had already passed the wave and the hype to do it.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like, the beers he makes is fantastic. I just wish he would have done it sooner.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I don't know, like I don't think, maybe it's a double-edged sword, right? That I don't listen. But then it's just like, it's my life. Like, if I listen to you and then my shit goes sideways, then who's to blame? You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
Oh, you like the accountability aspect.
Yeah, like I'd
whereas
rather
if you fuck it up on your own.
yeah,
at
like
least-
I'd rather fuck it up on my own. And like if this shit doesn't work, which is not gonna
like
happen.
you can sleep
Like,
better at night knowing
yeah,
that it
exactly.
was you that
If
fucked it
somebody
up.
told me like,
Yeah.
oh, don't do podcasts because you're never gonna make it, and if I listen to that,
We wouldn't
and
be
then
here right
like
now.
freaking 10 years from now, and then everybody's like blowing up with their own podcast, and then I'm sitting there like, fuck. And
Yeah, what if?
Yeah.
You know, what if? And I think that's where I was at for a long time, and was like, I would watch, I was still like so invested in dance that I just like, because even when I was in the army, I used to, I remember I was like, man, shit, I don't have anything to do this weekend. I'm going to Sprite Fest in Atlanta. Bro, them steppers were killing it. And I was like, man, like I know I can do it. Same thing like you were talking about last podcast, like teaching yourself moves from videos. That's what I was doing. I taught myself Thriller. I taught myself half of Michael Jackson's shit and never did anything with it.
yeah,
And I would watch like ABDC, and I'm watching
that shit
people.
was
I'm watching people battle, and
shit
I'm
back
watching
in the
people
day.
like do all of their shit. I'm like, I can do that. Like, I'm a very telegraphic person. I only need to watch someone do something maybe once or twice before I'm like, okay, I can figure it out.
yeah,
And I never did, man. And like, I think it was a mix of being scared, right, of failing immediately.
Is it because like, are you scared of what other people were thinking?
I think so. I think at the time I was still not sure of how to let that part of my brain stop, like how to let that go, like
Yeah.
how to let go of what people thought about it. And I think at the time I was in a relationship that was not serving me and was taking more of my energy than I was giving to myself. And unfortunately, it went through COVID.
Yeah,
It was probably something that would have timed out before COVID, but then COVID hit. We ended up moving in together. It took a lot of energy away from myself. And then I remember my first class. It was August 28th of 2020, which was a weird time. Yep. And so I remember I just went. I remember I had been looking. It was crazy. I had looked a couple years before, and I think that was Surf. And I was like, I was like, okay, so Reno does have a studio, because I didn't think we had one. And I just never went. I think I just never pushed myself to go. I was so worried about my other hobbies and all this other stuff, and I just never went. And then I don't know what it was that day that I think I'd looked up class a couple of weeks before, and I'd seen like, you know, the website, how to sign up, things like that. And then I remember I followed them on Instagram, and I remember watching Brand's I think it was a Red
was
Mercedes
it Brandon's class that you went to?
Yeah, but I watched it was either a Red Mercedes piece. It was an anime piece for sure. It was the piece he taught the week
I
before.
think it was Red Mercedes.
Right. And so I was like, yo, man, he's killing it. This looks hella fun. I probably can't do it, but I can try.
Yeah.
Like, I might as well go figure it out. And I remember he taught Fat Joe Lean Back. And I remember I walked in, and I had never felt more supported in an area in my entire life. I walked in. I think Luda was the first one that said anything to me. I think Luda introduced herself first. It was either Luda or Kelly. One of them introduced themselves first. They didn't really talk to me too long, because I was like, they were like right before class started. So it wasn't like we had time to converse. But I remember like,
Like you didn't know anybody there.
right, didn't know anybody at all. I think by the halfway through, I think Kelly had like looked over and was like, "Oh, you're a popper, huh?" I was like, "I don't know what the fuck that means." Like, I just said, "Yeah, 100%." Like,
But yeah, fake it till you make
because like,
it.
I had always seen people pop, and I was like, "That's what I wanted to like." That's the only thing I really like could mimic sometimes, and I was like, I could try to do that. And then I remember doing the piece. I got called out, and I went in a group with Brandon and Luda. It was me, Brandon, and Luda.
Oh, nice. That was your
And
first class.
First class. I still got a video of it. It's on my IG. Check it
yeah.
out.
Was that
That's cool.
the first time that you came over to our house too?
No, that was much later.
Oh,
So
okay.
like I remember I went to that class
Oh, wait.
and I was like, okay, man, like this is cool. I like it. Didn't get a whole lot of support in my relationship because I think at the time I was probably asking her to come with me and she didn't want to go.
Oh, it's you're dating somebody at that time.
Yeah, I was. I was in a at that point 2 or 3 year relationship at that point.
Okay.
And went to that class and then instead of building slowly, the next class I went to was Caskey's Advanced Hip Hop.
Just
Tell
dive
me,
in the deep
bro,
end.
Hey,
dying,
Shout outs to the homie Alex
Yeah.
Kasky. That used to be my
Killing it.
partner in crime.
killing it. Caskey's an amazing dancer, man,
Yeah.
and his choreo is so good.
Man,
And
I miss tearing up the stage with my boy.
yeah. And what's crazy is I have a video of that too, and it's so amazing to have videos of that stuff because I'm like, oh man, I get to like see where I came from and I see
Yeah.
what I wasn't retaining, and I wasn't terrible. Like I was like, okay, like people are actually cheering for me. I'm getting called out. Like yes, I'm not getting the whole choreo, but like I'm not doing terrible.
Yeah, and I think that's like with that environment too. Like everybody's supportive and cheering you on. It makes you feel good about yourself.
The amount of love
Yeah.
that I've received from dance is more than any other thing other than like maybe family that I've probably ever gotten in my life.
Yeah, and I think that's what like for the longest time you were probably looking for that.
I was, and
It's
I didn't
because you didn't know what that
did-
was.
I had massive amount of oh man, what's the right word I'm trying to say here?
FOMO.
Not FOMO. The thing I got in the military, like that band of brothers feeling, like the camaraderie.
Oh
I
yeah.
had a massive amount of camaraderie. I understood that. I understood what it meant to have the dude to your left and right's back. Like I
Yeah.
would have gladly taken a bullet for any of the boys that I served with, without a fucking thought about it.
Yeah.
Same way I would do for you guys now. But that's all I had.
Yeah.
I didn't have that like.
It's different.
I don't want to call it blind support because it's not. I think blind support is a dangerous thing in dance, but I think the loving support, like as long as support comes from a good place, it's a very productive and positive thing. And I had that when I walked into that studio.
Yeah.
This is so crazy.
And I think it's from the people too, because like we're in the same group of friends,
yeah.
and
Shout
before
out,
that, I never really experienced that either. I've had good friends growing up, but it wasn't like we never expressed like how we feel, and like we never
It
said
never gets past
like
that level.
we never said I love you, and like it's just like, oh, that's a given. Like we're
Yeah.
best
Right.
friends, and
But
it's
we all
just,
know
like,
how important it is to actually express themselves
exactly.
now.
And
And then
like,
you meet Ray, and then all that shit
'cause
flies out the
yeah,
window.
because I remember, I don't know what year. It's probably like a little bit 2020 maybe, when I started hanging out with you guys. When I started meeting everybody.
Well, I mean,
pretty
I
much.
feel like me and JERiCK always hung out, but like I
Yeah.
started like bringing him around more to like around the fam, you know?
Yeah, because and then when I think must have been Raph. He was like, he's like goodbye, like, oh, I love you, bro. I'm like,
He's never said that to me before.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah. I was just like,
I entered a
Thanks.
relationship I didn't know about. Like,
like, are we in a relationship? It was just
Yeah,
like,
I
and
can
then,
buy you
and
flowers
then
now?
you probably
What's going
saw
on?
that we were all like that too.
yeah, and it was like seeing that and then experiencing that. I was just like, this is because like it was really awkward in the beginning because like I didn't know how to receive it.
Yeah, and you didn't have rapport built with
Exactly.
anybody.
And it was just like, it felt weird. It's not like it's like I didn't want it. It was just like, this is odd. Like I didn't know how to like
Yeah.
react to it.
but you want to talk about like stepping into who you are and like that whole transformation cocoon process.
Yeah.
That's what our fam is called, the Kid Me Kids, if you didn't know. That's what our fam gave to me.
Yeah.
And it's something that I will never be able to repay to any of you. And I don't think anyone has been able to understand that.
I just have to share this while we're on the topic. The reason these two are gushing so much about the friend group is because it is so special. And because of that, I was the guy that was so overprotective, right? Because this whole thing started with me, Ray, and Sierra. Like we all started hanging out, and then, the fam like started building from there. So I was always like overprotective, and it's so funny because the other day Sierra was making fun of me because she remembers the first night that Alex came to our
I was
house.
just about to say that shit. I was just okay. Not to jump ahead because we're gonna go back and explain how all this came to be, but like, I remember I walked into their house, and I've never had someone look at me like, "Who the fuck is this motherfucker?" Like, who the fuck is in my house?
No.
And I was like, what the fuck is this?
I didn't know it was that obvious,
because
bro.
him and I hadn't met yet.
Yeah.
So what was crazy is I came to some classes, right? I think I met Bran, Luda, and Kelly first. I met all them, and then we also had these other pop-up classes at RDC. Shout out Reno Dance Company, amazing studio. We had pop-up classes over there, and so that's when I started meeting, like, I think I met like John, Kit. I met, who else? I think that was the first time I had like actually like talked to Ray like fully, because I don't even think I saw him in classes before, and I think that was the first time I met Sierra too.
Yeah.
Because they had been teaching classes at Empire, but I had never took their class because it was advanced. Cassie's class was the only class I needed to be like, yo man, you're not there yet. But that was the first time I met them, and then like we integrated more. Like they invited me to their classes at Empire. I came to a couple of their classes, and I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was either your class or it was Chelsea's class from Royal Fam. I think it might have been Chelsea's class from Royal Fam. And I remember we had talked like after class a little bit. We bulled it a little bit, chopped it up. I think Ray had come up, like we were outside, and Ray was like, yo man, you want to come kick it at the house? We're just gonna go back to the house and kick it. And I was like, yeah, man, have a show. Like, of course. And so I was like, yo man, can my girl come? He's like, yeah, of course. And I remember calling her at the time, and she was just not about it. She did not like the fact that I was dancing, and she did not like what it was changing me into, because I was getting my style, man. I was getting like back into who I was, because I feel like this was who I was starting to become in high school before I joined the military.
Yeah.
And the military stopped that progress, and then I was like slowly starting to like get back into it. And I think she realized that, and she realized that it was probably not going to be good for our relationship.
Yeah.
And so I remember I went to the house, and I was nervous, man. Like, I don't know why I was so nervous.
Like, oh man, I'm getting invited to the cool
Because I had seen everyone hanging out, and like the way that you guys were with each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, this looks like a group. You know what I'm saying? Y'all look like the Jabberwockies. Like, what's going on here? And I was like, all right. So I remember going to the house, and I was like, first of all, dope house. Miss that house so much.
I know.
And I remember like, oh man, like this is a cool spot. They got a porch. Like this is I can see
that porch is legendary.
I can see us kicking it out there, and I was like, all right, cool. So I remember going in and going inside, and I was like, all right, cool. This is a dope little spot. Like, and we had the coffee table and 2 couches, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna sit. For walking in and getting that motherfucking response, I was like, I'm gonna go sit on the wall, bro. I'm gonna go sit as far away from everyone as possible,
bro. I probably just had like the most sour face, because I was like,
yeah,
what the fuck is this
You
guy?
just have RBF.
What is that?
He has Raffy bitch face.
Raffy bitch face.
Raffy bitch face.
That's the thing.
And so I remember I was sitting over there, and I was just like, all right, well, I barely know everybody. I think I talked to Shanice a couple times. I talked to Sierra a couple times, but the only people I really had talked to was Brandon Ray. And I remember Ray was like, hey, don't be shy. Like, come sit on the couch, and like invited me over to like be
The exact opposite of how I was.
Right. And I just remember Raffy like pacing between the kitchen and the living room.
Oh yeah, because the door was
yeah,
open.
and I was like, either he's like me and he has like restless leg syndrome, or he's just like not stoked that I'm here right now. And so I remember like sitting and talking and like, just getting to know everybody a little bit more, and it was crazy because like the amount that we know each other now, if you think about it, we've never directly been like, tell me your life story.
Yeah.
It's all coincidental of how we know so much about each other now, and how we've built this life together. Is like, I never asked you like, hey man, when did you, I think I've asked you now, but like I've never been like, hey man, tell me your backstory.
Yeah.
When did you move to America? When did you start dancing? Like these are things that we found out
later on
just through like the way that we used to hang out. And I remember very specifically, everyone got food, but I didn't know this was like a food type situation. And I was like, oh shit, man, I'm hungry as fuck, bro. I just danced for like 2 hours straight. I'm so hungry. And I remember Luda actually offered me food, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I remember we were talking about something. I wasn't really paying attention to the conversation, but I remember Ray looks at me, he leans in, he goes, yeah, man, you're in. I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, am I about to get jumped into a gang right now? And then I remember Shanice being like, yeah, kid, you're totally in. And I was like, why is everyone talking like this? Like, what is happening?
You don't understand. This conversation pissed me the fuck off because I was like, who says he's in? Like, in my head, I was like, who gets to decide who? Brand said he's in, but that's his decision. I don't have a say. Like, I was so bitter. I don't know why, but I was just so overprotective because I felt like our group was so special, you know? And continue. I'm sorry.
That too. But yeah, man, I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what any of that was because I didn't have it before. You know, I didn't have that understanding. And I will say, there's so many good qualities of our group. There really is.
Yeah.
But the understanding we have of each other is insane.
And I think it's just good to have that group of people in your life that is supportive, understanding, because like it's life's tough.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have that, it's even tougher.
Yeah, and I don't know how far I would have taken dance without you guys. I don't know how much of the person I am today I would be, because like I said, I was at that point where I was like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was trying to do with my life. I didn't know what I was trying to become. I didn't know this would ever happen. You know, like this weird. I don't want to say confidence, but like this weird understanding of myself and what I want to project as a person came through. Like I never, even through everything I went through, I never was that person who like didn't shower and didn't take care of themselves. I've always had good grooming etiquette. I've tried to make sure like that never lacks. There's times where, you know, you get in a rut and you're like, man, I don't want to brush my teeth. You know, but you're like,
I ain't trying to shave.
Right. Definitely, man, the beard used to be crazy. But yeah, I remember once I started getting in the group and I started getting that, like, my dose of love, bro. Like that's what it turned into. Like the times we spent, because for those of y'all who don't know what we're talking about, we would go to class. We would go to class for 3-4 hours a night. Like Luda and I took every class for almost a year straight. We were always there, and we go to the house after that. The house
That was like a tradition. That was like a ritual.
It was like a ritual every Tuesday. It seemed like it was either Tuesday or Monday.
I was also extra grumpy because I was working. I had to be at work at 5 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, we'd be up, bro.
And y'all
We'd be up to like 1.
Like our group is loud, bro.
Yeah, we can't be in public places very well.
It's so, life is so funny. Like if I don't know when I started easing off on you, but like
He hasn't.
He hasn't.
I'm his goddamn roommate, and he still treats me. I walk into my house, he's like, "Why are you here?" I live here.
I do not do that. That is so false.
No, it's not that bad anymore.
But I don't know I don't feel like it took that long for me to ease up. I don't know, but it's my perspective, so maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like eventually after seeing him interact with everybody else, eventually I was like, I guess he aight. Like, and then from then, you know, it just like, he's cool, I guess. Like, you know.
Yeah, I think having the people surrounding me taught me more about myself than I would have ever taught myself. You know, like I taught, you know, I think of everyone, I think of what qualities people taught me. You know, Ray taught me love and patience more than I think anybody.
Oh, dude,
and I think he does that with everybody.
Yep. Yep. Especially me.
Shanice taught me how to stay a kid, man. Shanice has taught me how to like really be myself.
Yeah.
Sierra taught me how to understand people, how to be like have grace with people, how to like really realize that shit's not about you, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rafi has taught me that you can talk like a man and like not have pushback. You know, you've taught me more than, I mean, there's a lot of shit you've taught me. I'm gonna get too crazy with it, but like, you know, you've taught me that even if you need to take time away from something, that's healthy. It's not bad. You know,
sometimes it's actually better for what you're trying to do. Yeah.
Brand's taught me that transformation is beautiful. Brand's taught me that you can be whatever you want to be, and as long as you bless others, it will always return to you. You know, JERiCK's taught me to chase your dreams no matter what. No matter what. Fuck what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
I would have never gotten as far as I had with dance if I didn't watch other people struggle. If I didn't watch you guys struggle doing what you do, I'd quit my job and did the same path you guys did, and it gave me so much more knowledge. sucks now because I'm in a normal job, but like that idea of finding a way around something, because we all need to work. It's an unfortunate part of being human, but like
especially today,
you guys have shown me that it's possible to get a job that's not like as demanding and traditional, to be able to follow your dreams, you know? And I think that's important.
Because it's like, it's at what cost are you doing something? Sometimes, like, if you have this, I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting a regular job,
Right.
but then sometimes that takes away from everything else, especially what you're passionate about. Sometimes it does take away from that.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the freedom. Maybe like even after work, maybe you might be like too exhausted to do something. So it's like it's
hard.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick before I forget, Luda. I don't want to leave Luda
everybody
out.
gives. Yeah.
Luda gets all the flowers. Luda, I love Luda so much because we joke around.
deserves all the flowers.
Right. We have these like little private jokes with each other where only like I'll only hear something she says and she'll only hear something I say, and like no one else will hear it. And so we have like our little jokes there. But like she taught me that like growth is very possible. That
Dude, talk about growth. What an example.
Insane,
Jesus.
Like her growth is insane to see.
Shout out to Luda. Hopefully we see her on the podcast. I'm sure that's in the works at some point.
She's and she is so intelligent, man, and she's quiet, so you don't get to know it until you sit there and talk to her.
Yeah, she is pretty
It's
quiet.
different. You gotta, if you really know her, if you've gotten a chance to really know her, man.
Yeah.
And it's great to see everyone bloom into each other, you know? And I think going back to making sure we stay on topic, everyone has shown perseverance in a different way.
That's true.
And
damn, bars right there.
Because it's like everyone has their own battles, man. Like everyone goes through something. We all know each other's battles now because we're at that. We have that understanding. But
I'm in a motherfucking trench with you at this point, bro.
Our cars have been. Anyways, it's great that we all share an understanding of how to help each other. You've helped me without telling me how to do something.
Like what?
Like you've taught me, like I said, to follow your dreams.
JERiCK said pics or it didn't happen. Tell me.
Right. So there's been times where I'm like, all right, WWJD, bro, what would JERiCK do? And I'm like, man, JERiCK doesn't stop. JERiCK doesn't like, there's times that, like, you might need to take a break.
I probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, yeah. But yeah, man, I like, if I didn't have that positive, like, chase your dreams person, it'd be harder for me to do what I'm doing. You know, it'd be harder for me to be like, I'm already considering another career change, you know, where I'm like, I am stepping too far away from dance.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like when I step this far away from dance because it makes me feel like I'm not progressing. And you guys have always shown me a way to stay on track almost, you know?
Yeah.
And with your perseverance, you guys show other people how to stay motivated. And I think we all motivate each other without even trying.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. And then that's why, especially for me, like when I post like all that stuff I post on social media, it's not to show everybody what I'm doing. It's more of like, how can this motivate others?
Right.
In a way, like even if like, yes, I post my own content, but then like when people watch it, it's like, I really hope they get something out of this.
Yeah.
That's always my intention.
Trying to find connections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you never know, cause like I always say this, like you never know who's watching you.
Yeah.
You could be doing, like you think like nobody's watching and you're not inspiring anybody, but that's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they don't say anything,
Yeah.
you're impacting other people by just doing whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And I think like that's a big thing. And it's hard for me to like let this specific aspect of my life go, is like that self-awareness.
Yeah.
The military taught me so much how to be self-aware. The only other person I've seen be as self-aware as, or not self-aware, but like, yes, self-aware, but also like in terms of space and what's going on around you, not necessarily just what's going inside, but like you're paying attention to everything. I mean, in that type of self-awareness, the only other person I know that is adamant about it like I am is Ray. Ray is probably sometimes even more than I am. Like, I don't show it as much as he does. Like, I'm always paying attention, like, you know, for me, doors, exits, people, what they're doing, where they're at. But Ray is like, he's even a step above. He knows that if you got a certain look on your face, something's going on. right?
Yeah.
Or if,
He's like a. I feel like he just senses our emotions
yeah,
better than anybody.
yep,
He has like a, you know how Spider-Man has spider sense. Ray has spider sense for like
got race
when
sense.
when one of somebody in the fam is feeling off, he has like a spider sense.
Yeah,
Yeah. He is
sunshine
very
sense.
caring.
Yeah.
Like he takes care of people.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I really love about
I mean,
Ray. He'll be in the podcast too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, belated
That's a
happy.
good one. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
belated
happy
happy
birthday.
and happy anniversary to Ray and Sierra.
If you got to this point, you guys better be watching right now.
Yeah.
Shit.
we don't have to
No,
split this into two
they
videos.
shut us off 40 minutes ago.
Right. Hey man, you know what? Trying to listen to this goddamn shit about your family, I don't care. Try to tell me about perseverance, man. That's not what I tuned in for. But if you've been listening, you would know that it's been
all
a journey.
part of it's all part
It's
of
all part of the talk,
the
man.
big umbrella of staying motivated in dark times.
Yeah.
But before we end the podcast, let's just give some final words to the people that are listening right now. Anything insightful, or just say whatever you want, I guess.
You got bars. You go first, and then my bars will come after.
Your episode.
All right, you're right. You're right.
I haven't had my episode yet. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
This guy. It's your second episode. You in it now.
You're
you regular.
I'm the co-host in this situation,
Okay,
so
all
go.
right. I think the biggest thing that has helped me, first of all, always believe in yourself. Obviously, that's a given. But
I feel like that's not very obvious for a lot of people.
no, right. But I mean, like, that's like the cliche thing is like,
Yeah.
believe in yourself. But further than that, believe that you can do it. Believing in yourself and believing that you can do it are two different things. You can believe in yourself and be like, yeah, man, I'm great. I'm this, I'm that. But if you can't believe that you can do something, that's different, man. Like, I can believe in myself all I want, but if I am like, yeah, I'm great at this, but I can't do this, that right there is immediately hindering your growth. If you can just tell yourself that, yes, not only do I believe in myself, but I believe that I can achieve this, that will bring so much motivation out of your life and help you get further than you ever will without it. And also, like, accepting that hard times do not last forever.
That's a good one.
It's gonna feel like they will, and that's the terrible thing about depression is your brain will tell you that it will never end.
Yeah, because I've been there before,
Right.
but it's just like it felt like, when is this gonna end?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so dark that it's
One thing after another.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's hard to get out, but then as cliche as it sounds, like time really does like heal a lot of it.
It does, man. Especially like right now, I'm like, man, car broke down,
Shit just
house
keeps
needs to get
piling
fixed.
up.
It just piles up. man.
Motorcycle
And, like,
tried to kill you.
Motorcycle tried to kill me yesterday. Shit was crazy. I know that my life is not going to be like this, and when you stress about money, you're adding another layer. Money will come. Money will always be there. It is not as important as you think it is.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, Raph.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to step away from that, man. It's hard to let go of that tangible thing that we think we need so bad.
You
And
talking about money?
about money, bro. Like, it's this thing that if we can hold it, it means more to us. If we can see, and that means in the digital sense and the physical sense. If we can hold on to it in our bank account, and we can say, hey man, I got $800 in my bank account, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Makes you feel a lot better than being like, oh man, I only have $20 in my bank account.
That's
Man, you get
true.
paid tomorrow. You can go grind something. You can go figure something out. Yes, it's gonna feel like detrimental. You might be behind on some bills. Find a way to sacrifice to figure out what you need to do. I think sacrifice and persistence go hand in hand.
Yeah. Because honestly, I'm in that situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like financially, it's not great.
Right.
But then it's like I'm also at that point where, all right, I'm like really on that grind, chasing my dreams right now.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
like,
a lonely road.
yeah, it is. It's such a
It's
lonely
hard.
road. But then it's like, all right, I barely have any money in my bank account, but I'm also working, building something. So it's like, all right, it's not too bad.
Right.
Like if I wasn't doing this, if I was just like shitty with like my money,
Uh-huh.
that would be so much worse. I would have been probably like be depressed right now.
Right. It's like that meme where you're like, how you doing, man? Financially, not great. Mentally, also not great. Like, like, you know, I think this is a different podcast, which I think we should definitely do is like how financial affects your mental health. But
Don't have me on for that.
Here's a big takeaway. Don't use money as motivation.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Once you start using money as motivation, you lose yourself a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that was when I was talking about that time where I was not myself, all I was caring about was like, okay, how can I make the most money?
Yep.
Oh, I'm not happy here. I'm not making enough money. I'm not being myself. I don't care. Like, yes, there's times where I go back to normal traditional careers because I got to pay my bills. I'm getting behind. But I try not to use it as the motivation for what I'm doing. I know that I would rather be broke and happy pursuing dance fully. But I also understand that I have responsibilities.
Yeah.
I need to take care of those responsibilities to get back to that place. But I try to let go of the money aspect. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't fuck around with my money, but I don't.
You got a cat to feed too, so
I got a cat to feed. Yeah, that's the most important thing. But I don't let it drive what I want out of life.
Yeah.
I try to let go of oh man, you got to be in this capitalistic nature where you got to buy, you got to consume, so that your kids can be fine, or you can be healthy, you can be in a happy place where you can retire when you're 65, when you're damn near the end of your life.
Yeah, because I used to be in that too when I was just chasing money, and then I quickly realized I'm just like, why am I doing this?
Right.
It's just not fulfilling at all.
It's not.
Like, especially if the money doesn't come,
And it will.
it's not.
Yeah. It's
Like,
not fulfilling.
it's even worse.
Money has such a power to put you in a dark place.
I'm glad you brought this up. You know what I'm chasing, dude? I'm chasing peace.
And that's what it is.
And you know, there is some correlation between having money and having that peace, but what I actually am chasing is the peace of mind that I'm at peace with my own thoughts. I'm at peace with where I am. I'm at peace with how things are. I just accept things, bro. Like, I don't have any more energy to dwell on things anymore. I just, you know, if something bad happens to me, I'm usually upset for like 10 minutes, and then I'm like, what the fuck else am I gonna do? Like, you know what I mean? There's no point in dwelling. I just move on. You know what I mean?
And that's persistence, bro. That's staying motivated in a dark place. Was like when my car broke down on Saturday or Sunday, whatever it was. I was frustrated. I don't think I was like to the point of, oh my God, my life's over, while that was in the back of my head. Because I was like, once I got that bill, bruh, I still don't know what I'm gonna do. But I stopped letting it control my thought process. And I thought about, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. I have to believe that I'm gonna figure it out. That's the believing in yourself, and that's the believing that you can do it. I know that I will figure it out. Is it gonna suck? Is it gonna be hard? Yes. Am I gonna have to do some things that I don't want to do? Probably. But guess what? It's gonna work itself out. And
It usually does.
right. And if you let it tell you that it's not, or you let it hold over, then it's not, bro. Like, people make fun of manifestation all the time and like speaking things into existence, but you don't understand, like, the way that you talk about things, not even about yourself, the way that you talk about things is usually the way they end up going. And it sucks. Unless you're like, yeah, man, this bill sucks. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a lot of options. But one of these options is going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Might not be the one you want, but one of them will work. And you'll get there. And just keeping that mindset when you're trying to be persistent, you're trying to push through something hard, I think gets you further than most anything else will.
Hey, well, shout out to Alex, man, for sharing his story.
Thank you guys.
And also, like, dropping insightful things too, because I rarely see
man.
this side of you.
Yeah,
I mean, you've always been
hype.
You've always been a hype, fun Al, but then I rarely see
The serious side.
serious thinker Al. So it's a good.
I mean, yeah.
And I mean, you know what's crazy?
For the record, if I say you're all right, what I really mean is you're fucking awesome.
I need a gas button where, like, every time he gasses, it just like blurs out his face or something. But no, and speaking to that is, like, I used to write, man. I don't think almost anybody knows that. But I've always been a writer, and
You got no bars.
I don't write raps.
I'm kidding.
And so it's like, I havened done that in a long time, and I think
You should journaling. I
think-
heard journaling's good. I don't do it,
yeah.
but
I mean, it was a mix
works for a
between
lot
I
of
used to write poems, I used to write journals, and then I was for a little bit, I was writing a novel. I got to like chapter 6 and I lost motivation. But
Bruh, finish that shit.
I know, 100%. And it's like, I think that's something that I want to try to get back to. I have so many hobbies. That's the problem. I have all of these interests and things that I love to do. That's that ADHD in me that I'm like everywhere.
Yeah.
But for the things that I focus on, I feel like writing helped me a lot. And writing helped me be that insightful person that you guys don't get to see a lot because I get to put it somewhere. And, you know, when we carve out time, it's amazing what we can actually do.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to make time for it, dude.
Right.
How about you, Raph?
Any last words now that I gave a whole last soliloquy?
I would say prioritize or know what your priorities are. And then do everything you can to put yourself in the best position possible to achieve the goals and focus on those said priorities. For me personally right now, it's getting in the best shape of my life. And I guess a second would be anything fun and creative. I want to do more creative stuff this year, whether it's dance, music. But yeah, first things I just want to be in the best shape. I've never known what it's like to be like without a belly. So I would love to know what that is like. Like, yeah, it's cool. I got a little bit of muscle now, but like, you know what I'm saying? I would
Speaking about giving flowers, shout out to Rappy, bro. He been on it. I think you and I started going to the gym together. What in
Been going to the gym.
January, February, something like that. And he's been consistent, man. He's been killing it.
ever since we got back from
Santa Cruz.
some Soul Bloom last year. So I would say
Okay, since August.
let me not do that. Let's say November. Let's say November last year.
Yeah, we started on a program, and that's right, because we started on that program. I ended up having hella crazy rehearsals, so I wasn't able to go to the gym as much.
Yeah.
But he stayed with it.
Yeah.
So shout out to Raph for being
Thanks,
persistent, man. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man.
Hey.
Now I'm still depressed, but at least I have muscles. You know? I'm just
ripped and
kidding.
depressed.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I saw that meme on Instagram. I thought it was funny.
I mean, it's a progress, though. I mean, like, you know, just gotta keep on working on
What's
yourself.
my thing, TJJ?
I told JERiCK that the other
What?
day.
Bro,
The tan
TJJ,
jacked and juicy.
Tan jacked and juicy.
And right, I told JERiCK, I was like, right now I'm just TNJ.
I don't even remember where I got that from, but it was. I don't know why it was so funny. That shit is so
What
stupid.
about you, Jared? Do you have any
what's your last words?
for the people
Not last words
of
but
the JERiCK verse? Can we start saying JERiCK verse? Is that a
Sure.
thing?
Yeah,
I like
I'm
that.
cool with
the
that.
Jivij verse.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I've said this before. Just like listen to yourself more. Stop listening to other people, because you always know what's best for you. Even though when sometimes it's just like you don't know what to do, but I think you do.
You just got to believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you're like, your mind will tell you what you should do, but you like sometimes you ignore it
Yeah.
because like, oh shit, if I do this is what the other people are thinking. So it's just like,
So like trust your gut more. Yeah.
exactly. Just
Shout
follow your intuition.
Yeah, shout out to my overthinkers, for sure. Like
Yeah.
I'm so bad
There's
at
a
it.
lot of them.
Your first
I
thought
mean, I too.
is usually your most genuine, and it's
Yeah.
usually the one that you probably should go with.
Yeah.
And it
Follow
sucks
your
because
gut.
you won't know until you go through it, which is the hard part about learning things the hard way. I love learning things the hard way. It's the only way I learn, apparently. It sucks, but if you're right, man. You listen to yourself. It's amazing what you can do.
Yeah.
What about people who don't have inner monologue?
Everybody has
The
inner
fact,
monologue.
no, apparently there's
Apparently
people that
not,
don't,
dude.
which is crazy to me.
Right? Like I don't.
I talk to myself more than I talk to
I
anyone.
don't know. I don't know about that.
I know that's when I read stuff. I'm like, how? Like
There's no way.
but maybe because we don't know what it's like to not have it.
I
don't
guess.
I'd be having fights with myself all the time.
Bro, I'd be talking to myself all the time.
know. Dude, I could have my own podcast. What's
Yeah.
up?
Can you imagine if you could relay your inner monologue? I would. You know that the Kermit the Frog inner me thing? That's me all the time. It's like I should go to bed early.
Yeah.
Nah, bro, fireball.
Yeah, you got like 5 voices in your head though. That's different.
And they're all crazy. It doesn't help.
But yeah.
They're all hype.
Well, that was a pretty good podcast, man.
Yeah, I think what are we at?
Yeah,
Time-wise?
we're a long time.
Damn, we don't have to.
We
We have to
passed-
split it. We don't have to
I
split
think this might be 2 hour long
Oh,
podcast.
shit, we're late for the movie.
it. Yeah, so much for going to the gym. I guess we're just going to the movie.
But yeah, well, thanks Al for
Thank
coming
you
to the
guys for having me.
podcast.
Appreciate it.
For real though,
Appreciate it.
thank you for sharing, gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for sharing your story. Because like, I honestly wasn't sure what to expect having you on a podcast.
Yeah, Jared just thought I was gonna come over here and just cuss and be hype and yell and shit.
It's just essentially what happened. But.
Well, part of it, yeah. Because I never saw the
You've never seen the serious side.
insightful side of you.
Yeah, but then
as
you see
much
me
as I-
doing this every 2 seconds. That's my like hyperactiveness. Like I can't sit still. I don't know what my problem is. Ravi hasn't changed position the whole goddamn. I've moved legs.
It's
I've moved
because-
sides.
I'm trying to keep posture because this chair doesn't have, I don't want to show my belly. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to.
Yeah, you camera breeze out and everyone's just like,
Yeah, and I'm trying to suck it in, so I'm trying to look cool in front of the camera. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah. Well, anyways, thank you for listening to this podcast.
go jivij.
And I really hope that people actually stay for this 2-hour length podcast. I mean, I think people do.
Yeah.
Or
If you're here right now listening, comment down below that I actually watched the whole
I would
thing.
be very interested to see.
I'll take you to sushi. God damn it!
Oh shit! I might just have to reply. Oh
Yeah,
shit!
Jared's be like, I finished it. Let's
Like
go.
I'm gonna listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna like the comment.
Put us on while you're doing yoga or something.
Yeah.
About yoga, I don't know if I'm relaxed enough for yoga. I might have to
But
change
yeah.
my voice.
Anyways, yeah, this podcast comes out every Monday. If you didn't know that.
Sponsors, holla at my boy.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor a podcast, this is your chance.
Yeah, get it now before
Send those DMs to my boy.
Get it now before the
Exactly.
cat gets too high.
Athletic greens, all that shit.
Before the prices go up, man, you better get
Starbucks
in.
right here.
Exactly.
So Starbucks, how you doing?
But yeah, see you guys next week.
Later, y'all.
Peace.